Sorry for the delayed start this week, guys. My name is Nick Henderson. I'm joined today by Brad Simons.
Yes, that's me.
Nolan Hedstrom.
Here I am.
And Christopher Guthridge.
Present.
This is episode 401.
God, do you remember in fucking school when the teacher would sing names, everyone's like, here, here, and that one kid's like, present!
Oh my god! You're telling me that's not you, Nolan?
No.
Because that seems like it would have been you.
I hated that.
You invented that.
Hey, guys. Oh my god. Okay.
No, what I invented was Mr. Salazar, whatever, my 8th, 9th, whatever grade biology teacher. All the seats were like A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, and whenever he called my seat, I would always say, you sunk my battleship. Like, be sick. And I'm like, you sunk my battleship. Well, and then he would just start eventually just asking me to go take my desk out into the hallway.
Get out.
All right, anyway, I'm sorry, Nick.
When I was in Spanish class, anytime the teacher, I forget her name, asked me what a certain Spanish word was, I would always go, puse! Because that's the preterite form of poner, which means to put. But since it's the past preterite version, it would be like, he put one time. Anyways, yeah, puse.
Puse.
It's an actual Spanish word.
All right, puse, Nick.
Okay. First of all, I apologize for the delayed start if you're watching us live tonight. I apparently fucked up. But we have footage.
The internet fucked up.
There's plenty of blame to go around.
Yeah, certainly. We have a lot of games to talk about tonight, and a lot of news, and a lot of questions from our patrons to answer in the second segment. So why don't we go ahead and get started? I don't even know where to start. I could start with the order since we had to wait so long.
Why are you pointing at me?
I don't know. I'm giving you a choice. What do you want? You want to start with the order?
Yes,
No, but you're like, let's start with the order. I didn't play the order.
Nick, talk about the order.
Wait, let me play it. All right, I'm done. It was okay.
It's short joke of the night.
Oh my goodness. That was. I can't tell you. First of all, how sick and tired I am of the short jokes about the order.
It's funny because the only person who beat the shortest
Don't
game...
even do it, Nolan.
Okay.
Don't even say it.
I'm not going to say anything. I was talking about the only one that didn't eat the durian. You're the only one that didn't eat the durian.
Too much of that joke already made it out of your mouth. We already know what was going to be said. Everyone's already laughing. And it's just funny. I do see the irony in this. In fact, I realized this when I was playing it. So I play The Order 1886. It's PS4 exclusive. Yep. Right? We've all...
Yep.
You know, it's from...
a lot of us were looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's from Ready at Dawn, guys who have previously been responsible for Daxter on the PSP and the God of War games on the PSP. In fact,
a lot of PSP
Chains
games.
of Olympus.
Yeah, they were.
I think all they made were handheld games before this.
This is their first console game.
They made like AAA handheld games.
Like their handheld games were good.
Yeah.
So there was really, there's obviously some hesitation going into developing a console game. Is like, how are they going to be able to translate that same talent into doing a console? Which, you know what? Some would argue they did.
I saw someone playing this on a 21:9 monitor, and it looked beautiful.
The game is fucking gorgeous. It is honestly one of the best looking games I've seen this generation so far. That is about
it.
No. No, I don't want to say...
No, it's funny, though, because I was watching a trailer for this game today, and it's one of those, like, post-launch ones where it has, like, critical reviews in the trailer. It's like, Game Informer, GameSpot, and all this stuff. And all the quotes that they pulled were like, this game looks incredible, this game looks amazing, the graphics are so realistic. And that's the only nice thing.
The funny thing is
anybody had to say.
The funny thing is the box quote on the back of the box actually says something along the lines, I don't remember exactly, but it says something along the lines of relentlessly, oh god, what is it?
Beautiful.
No.
Short.
Oh, you're fucking ruining it. I can't think of it.
Sorry.
God damn it.
Grapefruit.
If anybody at home has the game in their hand, can someone please turn over the box and type the quote from the box into chat? So I've forgotten the word that I'm looking for.
Cinematic.
It'll take them longer to type the quote than it will to beat the game.
God, this is already going fantastic.
No, it's going fine. Hey, there was one video I saw of a scene in the game where the main dude's about to breach a door with another guy, and he's standing by the door, and then a triangle appears next to his mouth, and he presses it and he goes 3. And then another triangle appears and he goes 2. And then an R1 appears next to the grenade in his hand, and the guy just stood there. and didn't do anything. And the guy was just, and the video was just the guy for like the next 2 minutes just sitting there with the R1 next to his hand and no triangle
just waiting
next to
for
his
the
mouth.
prompt.
There was no one. There was no one quick time event.
Well, he does. Well, he goes 1 and throws the grenade.
Yeah, I know, but you know the 3 and the 2 were triangles next to his mouth.
There were some odd ones too.
Wait, what game is this?
The Order.
The Order.
I don't remember that at all.
There was
I just
a
play-
weird one where like, because I played the first like chapter and a half or something of the game, and then I quit. But
This
like
is
there
gonna-
was one he's like holding his hands up or something, and you just have to hold triangle while he like holds his hands. I don't remember.
There
what
is
it was.
literally
It
a
was
word.
Really.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about the QTEs here in a second.
Okay.
There is
Disassociated
literally a
QTEs.
word that I can't think of off the top of my tongue that's literally crazy ambitious.
Oh yeah.
It said the word ambitious was the word I couldn't think of.
And it says this on the box.
It
art.
said on the back of the box, ambitious. And the last thing I would say about this game is that it's ambitious. Now,
It's like, well,
there
they
were
had-
things about this game I enjoyed. One of them, obviously, being how it looks. The game looks fucking incredible.
Yeah.
It has some fun weaponry, and the gameplay when you are engaging in like firefights, I found it to be pretty fun, especially when they start giving you some of the more entertaining weapons in the game, including a gun that basically shoots lightning and like just blows people up when it fucking hits them.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
They give you like a magnum that fires 2 shots at once, which is really satisfying. Like cool shit like that. And of course, we've all seen the gun. What was the gun they? I'm forgetting all these words.
The grapefruit
Thermite
launcher.
gun.
Oh, yeah.
Thermite gun from, that we played with at E3. But like, there's nothing beyond that. Like
Yeah.
this game
Yeah.
is almost entirely like go from one really beautifully well crafted, well acted story cutscene to a gunfight, which is usually you fighting dudes.
Like a cover-based like.
Yeah,
And
like
it's-
when this game was debuted, it was like, oh my god, they're making like a werewolf game set in Victorian London. Like that's fucking awesome. There are like 3 werewolves in the entire fucking game.
Are they all like these quick time event moments?
No.
Okay.
So okay,
But they are still really like kind of
I'm
gaming.
hoping
I don't
can
know.
get this to pull up
Because I did one of the werewolf encounters, and it was like I was in a warehouse and there's like 3 werewolves and they're just like running around the warehouse, like circling around you. So I did like on Nick's suggestion, I stood back in a corner and I just waited for one of them to like run at me. When they run at you, there's a prompt to dodge, and then you can kind of like turn around and fire on them. And if you do that enough times, they go down, and then you run up to them and there's a prompt to execute. So it like the whole encounter was literally just me waiting, dodging, firing.
And herein
Dodging,
lies the
firing,
big problem,
firing.
because
So it wasn't like you're really hunting these werewolves or anything.
the
but-
werewolf sequences in this game, there are 2 kinds. There are sequences where you're in like a warehouse and you're dodging. Like they usually have a set of 3 werewolves that come at you, and there's the QTE like boss fights where you like have to carefully time your attacks and dodge and whatnot. Those are the better werewolf sequences in this game. The sequences that Crispy was referring to happen times throughout the game, and they're the exact fucking same every time.
Really?
You're always in a room with like high shelves or some like just a bunch of like randomly
sort of
placed shelves. Industrial shit, and the werewolves will take turns running right at you. You can dodge, pump a few rounds into them, and then they'll run back and hide, and then another one will come at you from a different angle, and you do the same thing every fucking time. Like they literally came up with a design doc for these encounters, and then just repeated it over and over again. And like those are the only times you really engage with werewolves in this entire fucking game, beyond these 2 major set piece like QTEs boss fights.
Nick, how's the story? Because I know that's what you were hoping would kind of hook you, even if
The
gameplay
story
was
is
a
probably
bit
the only
mediocre.
thing. I think they did a really good job of setting up like a universe with a lot of potential here. Like I think the main character comes across, like the characters in general come across pretty dry. Like there's no, but you know that's pretty typical of like most major new
It's
IPs
so
these
fucking
days.
lame though, because the premise sounds so cool.
I know.
Yeah,
but,
that's
like,
what everyone was excited for.
Like my theory here is that like I feel
These
like
are Knights of the Round.
I know, and that's the cool shit. Like the
make them
actual
boring.
order itself, and like the concept, and like what they're doing, and like the story beats from moment to moment are actually pretty interesting. And the universe is certainly really cool, and it could have a fucking hell of a sequel. I feel like they probably spent way too much time, or not too much, time necessary, but I feel like they spent most of their time developing the tech for this game.
It seems like they came up with an idea, and it's a great idea, and they came up with the stuff, but then they had to kind of, put some gameplay around that stuff, and it feels like that's where it fell short.
There is gameplay. Like when I read when the game first came out, I read a few reviews before I ended up playing it. By the way, I played it in one sitting on hard.
As I was going to ask you, how was playing it on hard?
Hard. I mean, harder. Most people were like joking, like the game can be finished in like 3 hours. I spent 9 hours one sitting playing.
So what was hard about it? Was just like you died easily?
The thing is, I didn't really play it on normal, so it's hard to compare. Most of it, I think, a lot of it has to do with you die quicker.
Mm-hmm.
I think there are certain firefights where they probably throw a lot more dudes at you.
You were saying that the werewolves were like bullet sponges.
Yeah, like fucking those werewolf sequence. Like if you watch the footage, like I did that werewolf sequence when I was recording the footage for the podcast. Yeah. I was doing I was doing it on normal, and I did it my first try, no problem. Didn't even take a hit. When I played it on hard, I died like 7 or 8 times because they just fucking they're bullet sponges. Yeah. And there were a lot of firefights where like there's no, like they literally just back you into a corner, and you can't there's just a bunch of dudes coming at you, so you can't move forward and engage, or like you're literally just stuck in like a corner, and you can take cover behind things, pop out and shoot things, and like that usually gets really frustrating. You end up sitting in the same spot for like 10 minutes just trying to get through a fucking fight, and you end up a lot of times since you take damage faster, you just die over and over again.
So it seems like the hard setting isn't exactly the best use of a hard difficulty. It seems like they just.
I would absolutely good when a game is like really well.
I would absolutely recommend playing this game on normal.
Yeah.
The thing is, when I read the reviews, people they were making it sound like this game was like 2.5 hours with like 2 hours of cutscenes and that's it, and it really isn't.
That's not what people were saying.
No, there were some people I literally was reading people on Twitter.
Everyone was just quoting that one YouTube playthrough that went up.
People were just fucking flipping their shit, and I was like, maybe I should play it on hard. Maybe
I was hearing 5 hours with like a third of it being cutscenes.
I would say it's about 5 hours with like a fifth of it being cutscenes.
Well, see, the problem is because it's not just long cutscenes, which there are those, but in those gameplay segments, there's a lot of times where like you'll run up to a door and then they'll do like 2 seconds of scripted, and then you'll run down a hallway shooting at a guy, and then they go into another like 2-minute like scripted sequence, So it's broken up and interspersed. And honestly, for me, that was really frustrating because sometimes I couldn't even tell when the game was like giving me control again.
No.
And then like I would get a fail state because I didn't do anything.
The biggest I think honestly, aside from the fact that the gameplay is a little shallow, or really shallow, like the biggest problem with this game is that it just relentlessly fucking takes control from the player or from the player for no reason. For no reason.
How do you mean it takes control away from you?
It makes
it'll drop you into a gameplay area and take the brakes off and let you run, and then the second you do something, it's going right back into a cutscene. Like, you don't even really have time to like sit and breathe and enjoy the fact that you're playing a game.
And there are things that don't need to be QTEs that are QTEs.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like
counting down.
Like push triangle to like reach for the doorknob.
Yeah,
push triangle. This is an example. I'm making this up, but like some things that are
there are a lot of like cutscene moments that they were like you get the sense that they were getting a little self-conscious about how cutscene heavy the game was, so they went back to some of those cutscenes and like just threw in like these really just like disconnected, like kind of like
prompts.
Weird QTEs. Like I said, there was one where he was literally like. It's like, I don't remember what was going on, but like somebody's like drawn down on him and he's got to put his hands up. So they have a QTE where you're holding triangle to raise your hands.
Yeah, that happened.
Like
that's in like Heavy Rain though,
weird.
But Heavy Rain's a very different type of game.
Yeah. I just feel maybe they were trying to take inspiration from games like that, and then they just took it too far.
It's like press triangle, let go, and then press and hold so that he'll go like this.
Like there were times when I was like, I would be totally okay with just sitting back and enjoying the cutscenes, enjoying the story play out. But instead, it's making me there were times where I would put the controller down, thinking I was about to watch a cutscene, and then realize, oh, it wants me to push the button. It's in that sense, it's pretty.
All right, so a couple questions.
Shoot.
Do you think we're gonna get a sequel? Any game that Sony spends this much money on, they're committed to a franchise.
Yep.
What does the sequel need to do, and do you think it's going to do that to make people care, because if you think about it, like look at last generation, like the first Uncharted wasn't really that great. You know, the first Assassin's Creed was kind of boring. You know, there's a lot of franchises that I think started that were really hyped going into it. But the first entry is like, you know, the one you skip.
I know,
you know what I'm talking about?
This I'm hoping this ultimately ends up being the one that just kind of is looked back upon as like the one you skip. If you are going to skip one, because like I said, like the universe seems really interesting. If they were going to make a sequel that was going to be successful, I think they would have to first of all open it up a little bit. Like for me, like I feel like the length of this game is far from its biggest problem. Like for me, it's really just a narrow corridor shooter that takes you from one cutscene to the next. They need to open that up a little bit. They need to maybe relook at or take another look at how they organize their environments during firefights, because that shit gets annoying. And of course, they need to realize that they promised people a fucking werewolf game and they gave you a fucking Gears of War clone or
Legendary The Box was more of a werewolf game.
Yeah, it's true. Like the number of the things that they allude to in this game, like the universe that they allude to, seems really interesting. They just did not take advantage of it at all.
It's like they just didn't think it was interesting.
It's almost like they didn't have enough faith in the werewolves are fucking cool, and there are some other parts of that lore that seem really interesting, but they're only alluded to, and they never take it.
Is anyone else worried that this might become the kill zone of this generation, where Sony's like, yeah, you care about this, and everyone's all awkwardly at this point, a new Order game, I can't wait.
At this point, they clearly know a lot of people don't care about it, so I would think they would have to improve on it.
And Killzone,
but the thing is, Killzone got better. Killzone 2 was a huge step above Killzone 1, and the multiplayer was fun. But it was that thing that still no one cared about, yet Sony kept pumping money into it and kept acting like people did care about it.
Sure, but I think if they do that and people don't care, I kind of hope they do, because the people that do care are probably really going to care.
I think the difference there, though, is that Sony was actively trying to compete with Halo with Killzone. Yeah. I don't know what the Order is supposed to be going up against.
Gears.
I guess, but even I don't know, because if it was trying to compete with Gears, wouldn't it have something like co-op mode or multiplayer, the stuff that people kept buying?
I guarantee you the sequel will have co-op or multiplayer.
I guess,
and maybe werewolves,
and maybe or
what
vampires.
If you could ride werewolves?
You spend fucking 90% of your time in combat in this game.
Wait, does this game have co-op?
No.
Oh my god!
Would you
it really is.
It seems like a blatant, because you're always with a partner in this game, pretty much. It seems like a blatant, misstep. But it's just you spend almost the entire game fighting humans, just regular peek out, the pop ups.
The few encounters I had too playing on normal, that it was it has all the cover mechanic. The cover shooter mechanics, but it's not even necessary. I would just charge in and just run around a corner and pop a guy.
I'll be honest with you, I wasn't expecting straight up bad reviews though for this game in its beginning, which is kind of weird to me. I was expecting a lot of 7s.
I think a lot of it
really is nothing.
The thing is the game is really well made. It looks beautiful and it runs smooth as butter. There's never any frame rate drops. But
I'm kind of glad.
And the game, the gunplay is fun. I think the problem, especially when it comes to bad reviews, I think this game more than most probably calls into question the value proposition more than most.
Sure.
Because $60 for this is.
It's like you were saying though. The only thing really, the only thing to hang your hat on in this game is the story, and I don't think the story is
I've heard.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's a terrible story, but it's so specific. It's so peculiar that I'm not against genre stories. I like steampunk and I like sci-fi and all that stuff, but I wasn't getting into it. It was just really weird. It was just there was no interesting characters that hooked me. There wasn't an interesting problem. I couldn't really tell why I was shooting the people I was shooting.
There wasn't really.
But Crispy, you care about Resistance, and you're gonna buy the next one, right?
Yeah. It's.
But hey,
it's
Resistance is another franchise.
I'm not saying it's weird if you like the story. Nick enjoyed the story, and I get that, but I don't think it's gonna be everyone's cup of tea.
I enjoyed the story, but it's not gonna there's several other stories, like tons of other stories in the past year I can think of that I enjoyed way more than this.
Yeah.
But
And
like,
I mean,
what I look back at the order and I just think about the foundation. I think they've set themselves a really great foundation, and they have the potential to make like a really great franchise if they can improve a bunch of shit.
What if they just do a completely different year?
like
1887.
You know, like,
Order
like the
1911.
future. Or like maybe this is the Sony's like Assassin's Creed, where they could just completely change the year, because the order it's all about like King Arthur's Knights of the Round, but in different years. They could totally do one in the future.
They could do like a 2057 with vampires,
Dude, yes.
instead of werewolves.
Yes. Yeah. Might get people excited because no
They
one
just
wants
gotta
another
fix
one of
those
these.
fucking werewolf sequences, because goddamn.
It sounds like they got to fix a lot more.
Dude,
than
if it was like more like something like The Last of Us, where you are actively like going through levels like hunting werewolves, like this game would have been amazing. If they just did that, it doesn't have to be in a different year. It can still keep that like kind of like alternate reality steampunkiness, which some people seem to be really into.
What drew me to this game was the idea of hunting werewolves, and there's none of that
none of
really.
Okay, well, a game that you can hunt in.
I feel like there is one thing I was gonna say, and I can't fucking remember it. Damn
Just coming up short.
God damn it, Nolan. I was broadcasting this really late because I started at 7 and it was like 2 in the morning. I was getting frustrated. I was getting really frustrated. People in chat who were watching me saw me get really frustrated, and there were a few people in chat who were really getting on my nerves. And I decided at one point, I was just like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm tired of hearing all these fucking short jokes. I'm done. And I turned off the feed. I cut the feed, I turned off OBS, and I walked away. And I had my phone on, and I still had chat running. And I went into my bathroom, and I was like getting ready for bed. I was like brushing my teeth, and I looked down, and I was live. I could see my chair in the living room, and people were like, "Is he coming back? Is he coming back?" And I was like, "What the fuck?" And I walked back in. OBS had booted itself back up. I was live, and I was just like, "Fuck it."
Stuff's you.
And I was just like, "Fuck it," and I sat down and I finished it. So that was weird.
Yeah.
My OBS is haunted. Anyways, you can hunt something in a game or something?
I don't know. I don't think I'm actually going to talk too much about Monster Hunter because I don't think you made an overlay for it.
No, well, I did, but I don't think you had any footage for it.
Wait, did you buy Monster Hunter?
I gameflied it, my friend.
Okay.
So Monster Hunter 4, it's the latest
I don't think
Monster
you could
Hunter
have
game.
footage for that.
Yeah, that's the thing. I couldn't capture footage of it because it's a 3DS game. Can't capture 3DS footage, unfortunately. But I'm not gonna. Briefly, I'll just mention that I do like some of the improvements that they've made. Things feel a little like faster, snappier. Climbing around, kind of jumping off things. It feels really nice. I just want to talk about some of the weapons that I like.
Wait, what have you been rolling with? What's your weapon?
I've been rolling with
Nolan?
the bug glaive.
Oh, the
the
like spear thing. With
So
the
you have one of the weapons.
Rolling with Nolan. He said, "What are you rolling with?" I said, "Nolan."
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nolan's looking at me like I'm crazy.
So I feel like Monster Hunter games, they don't really evolve at its core. They kind of stay the same, and they just add more shit on top. And I guess it's getting to the point where they're running out of ideas for weapons, so they're getting kind of crazy. And that's cool. I just wish they would evolve kind of the core formula a little more.
I like that new what's it called, like the charge axe or something, where it's like an axe and then it can turn into a sword and shield. Like that's cool.
Yeah, well, I was about to describe that.
Sorry.
Go fuck
But I thought you were talking about the bug glaive. What is that?
I was going to talk about some of the new weapons, like it's a sword and shield, but it's not just a sword and shield that transforms. All these new weapons have these weird mechanics, like you're charging up these vials of energy that you get by using the sword and shield and hitting an enemy with. Then you like put the energy into the weapon, and then you transform it, and now your axe is like can do these crazy elemental damage. It's weird and complex, and I kind of wish that
Sounds
they.
Kinda cool.
So the one I've been rolling with, the bug glaive, you shoot a giant beetle at the enemy that flies at the enemy, and depending on where you shoot the enemy, he will get different, extract different, like juices from the enemy, and like depending on what it is, like you shoot it at its legs, and he'll bring back like mobility enhancing like bug juice or like energy juice that will power you up.
Can you fire it at his anal glands?
Express
Or his
monster.
balls?
Yeah, you can literally do that. I don't know what you extract, but
It's all stringy.
but So it's a pretty cool weapon that, you know, it's situational. You're throwing your bug out and you're retrieving them and you're getting powered up.
It almost sounds like
cool.
the draw system from Final
No,
Fantasy.
but my favorite part of the bug glaive though is you have the ability to use it to like the spear that, you know, you are also using to pole vault, to fling yourself up in the air, which you've never had that kind of mobility before in a previous Monster Hunter game. But now that you can mount enemies in like Dragon's Dogma style, you can kind of get on their backs and wail on them. You know, normally what you would do is, you know, you like jump off like a ledge or something onto an enemy, but these guys using the bug glaives, insect glaive, they can pole vault onto them, which is kind of cool. I just, you know, it's the same shit. It's like comfort food. It's like probably like Dynasty Warriors or something where they change so little, but the people who like that thing, I do think Monster Hunter is better than Dynasty Warriors. It's a lot more complex, but. Like the things that I hate about Monster Hunter, like these tiny little areas that are all connected to each other, you know, like which makes the world feel small and not even like a world. It just like I can't believe it's still like that. Like, why haven't they made a Monster Hunter game with a big open world where you can just go hunt with some friends? They're making that. It's called Dragon's Dogma Online.
Can't wait. Probably for the same reasons that Resident Evil hasn't changed.
Well, I mean, and it's been, you know, the last few iterations have been handheld.
Well, as I was say, limitations of the actual.
But you're right. Monster Hunter isn't like this big evolving thing. But if you're into that, I mean, it kind of has that like Destiny formula where it's just about like meeting up with friends, going and running missions over and over. Now there's a little bit more depth and versatility to those missions. But yeah, it's like there's not really anything to change about the core formula. It's just about refining sort of the extras. And the nice thing about like these new weapons and everything is Monster Hunter doesn't fall into that sort of like hardcore like old school MMO trap where like I really want to be a healer, but I don't have anybody to play with, so I can't be a healer because then I can't play the game. You know, you can pick anything and roll with it and be fine. It's all about what you like and just what you're willing to learn, you know? And that's cool, and I like that.
Monster Hunter's still cool, but we should move on because we've got I played some other new games.
Speaking of handhelds, Majora's Mask.
Oh, anything new about Majora's Mask?
I mean, how far have you played into it?
I haven't played a second.
He hasn't played a second.
I played
since last week.
Since last week. I got my new DS yesterday.
Yeah.
So I started playing it again.
How's the nub?
It's not bad. Although, what really pisses me off, and maybe this is me, I'm still just experimenting with the system for the first time since I got it, but like, do you have to turn the nub back? You basically have to calibrate it for like the dual, for the Circle Pad Pro?
Some games, yeah.
You have to do that every time you boot up the game, or it's not going to work, apparently. As I understand it. So like when I turn on...
Like Monster Hunter does a check for it right at the beginning.
See, Majora's Mask doesn't seem to do that. When I go in, like, there's been twice already that I've loaded in all the way to the game, realized that I forgot to calibrate it, I have to quit out and then come back.
I think that's going to be like a...
In fact,
it's awkward for the nub?
Yeah, because they treat it the same thing as the...
Well, I think that's going to be just because we're in that transition period
right now. It freaked me out
now.
at first, because I thought I had one of the defective systems where the nub didn't work.
It'll change later. You know what's really annoying? If you like go into suspend mode on Monster Hunter for a while, it'll turn off your Circle Pad Pro.
Really? And then you have to... Oh my god.
All of my burps taste like durian.
Oh my god.
So Majora's
I'm in the first temple,
swamp?
and I'm in the swamp temple, or the whatever it's Woodfall temple, and I got to the point where I was like, I have 1 minute left. I'm gonna go ahead and play the Song of Time, and then I just...
Oh, okay. So I beat the swamp. I went to Snowhead, wherever the mountain.
Did you race the Goron yet?
Yep, and I beat that one. And so now I'm at the Great Bay, and I just got
so you're on the third temple. That's 3/4 of the game.
Yep, I'm cruising through it and fucking loving it. It's bringing back memories.
Are you doing all like the masks?
Oh, I've gotten so many masks. Okay. I've done a bunch of the side quests.
The thing is, when I played the original Majora's Mask, I got every single mask in that game. I can't remember what any of them are.
There's some of them I do remember and some I don't. Some of them are very obscure, like how you get them. And it's fine if you look those up. I mean, it's one of those things where I understand where they're coming from. And when this game first came out, you couldn't really go online. I mean, you kind of could, but I mean, the internet was kind of new then. Most people didn't have it.
It was still the age of strategy guides.
Yeah, very much. But there's also, the way the game works is, you go... and you see this guy, and he's checking a mailbox for something, and nothing's there, and you talk to him, and he's like, oh, blah, 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 and he runs away. And then, it's kind of like you can kind of you put these things together. You meet a Goron who has your same name. Oh, that means if I go to the hotel wearing the Goron mask, I have that name, and she'll give me the room key because she'll think I'm him. It's kind of that kind of stuff where it does a good job as long as you're not impatient, which everyone in this day and age is impatient. But the Bomber's Notebook definitely helps with that, with giving you like the time frames of when the people are available and kind of breaking it down. Like when you start a quest, it pops up and like, this is the quest that you've just begun. You know, it didn't do that in the past. And so this makes it much better.
I haven't spent enough time doing a lot of the side stuff yet because I literally just.
Well, this is one of those games where talk to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I did the intro sequence of Clocktown. I left Clocktown, went straight to the swamp. Basically did everything I needed to do to get to the temple, and then I went straight. I even think I skipped a cutscene because, you know, when you first enter the temple or the palace or whatever, you can go straight or you can go left or right. Mm-hmm. Normally, would you go all the way, go straight and talk to the king first before you come back and then do all the stuff in the side to go?
I think so.
Because I just went to the right and I went did all the stuff and came in, and like I seem to remember there was a cutscene that I just completely missed where you're talking to the king and he kind of sets everything up, and I kind of bypassed the whole
thing. I'm sure
you
can, probably, yeah. There's a lot of things that happen in this game that you don't have to be present for.
Yeah.
There's a lot. There's, you know, like I was doing this one side quest and it involves the mailman talking to the girl at the inn, and you don't have to be there for that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that's great about this game and being on the schedule is things happen every single day at this point in time. They will always happen that way, whether you're there or not.
That's cool.
And so that's exactly. You can walk in on something happening, and you know that's one of the good things about the game. And they've definitely added new stuff though, like the shrub, what's it called,
Deku.
the Deku. When you're in Deku form, and to do your spin attack, there's like spines on your hat now.
Oh,
those weren't there before. And when you're gliding, with the Deku, you can hold the right trigger, and it will give you a target down below you. So you can see where you're.
God,
that
makes the Deku challenge.
Yes, so you can see where you're going to land or where you're going to drop Deku nuts. Yeah. I don't know if I don't know. I didn't notice too much new with the Goron. I finished that temple pretty quick.
Yeah.
But now that I just got the Zora mask.
You like swimming slow?
Yeah.
I love it.
So. In the old game, I remember you have your little blades and you slice and you can fire them.
Yeah.
Could you do like a kick move after you fire them?
I think so.
I can't remember because now I can't. Maybe it's just because it's been a while since I played it.
Game I just flat out don't remember.
Have you found any masks that you know are like new to the game?
No, there's no new masks. They're all the same ones. The only thing I've heard differently about the mask is that one of them has changed positions. It's the stone mask, and I think you used to have to give there was a soldier, and you had to have the lens of truth to see him. And when you saw him, you gave him like a red potion or something, and now he's no longer where he is. He's just in a different spot.
Find him again.
So one thing, I just wanted to bring this up because I got the new system the other day. There's a lot of stuff about this new DS that I like, but why the fuck is the cartridge going in the bottom as well as the stylus and the power button? It's infuriating. I'm so used to playing here and just like popping out the stylus.
Yeah, I like it on the side.
Yeah, it's like they put everything on the bottom. It's fucking weird.
Plus, if it ever gets like old and worn out, where the stylus is like loose in there, it's just gonna fall out.
If you get like really into it, I could see maybe popping out the game by accident.
Yeah, but otherwise, it's a cool system, and the game, that 3D is so much better on this thing.
Oh yeah, the head
Holy
tracking.
Shit.
Yeah, I can't play the 3D. And
you have to try to break the line of sight to break the 3D effect.
No, yeah, it definitely is much better.
And you can see it from farther away.
Speaking of away, and away we go to the next game.
Hold on, calm down, Killer, real quick. So I mean, they did add, they changed up a few things here and there. There's more like save points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest additions, at least in my opinion, is when you go to use your ocarina or whatever musical instrument it is for the different masks, the notes are on the bottom. Yeah. Like you have a little notepad that you can click on. Oh, this and his little icon.
Ocarina of Time too.
Well, you in the 3DS. Mm-hmm. Oh, I never really played the 3DS one.
You could tap this. That was one of the same.
And they give you essentially just like a list of all the notes, and you could play it off of there instead of having to.
That and you mean the note? I was talking about the book where it tells you the song, like the actual songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could do that in Ocarina of Time. I believe it was that, and the fact that you could switch the boots off and on with the touchscreen. Those are like the two
In the
like
inventory.
those are the two like, oh my god, this like revolutionized the way I play this game kind of design quirks. Because I hate having to like I can't remember it and then like pull out the book separately and look through it and then go back before you forget it. So,
No, yeah, that's the good thing is when you pull up the ocarina, it gives you a list of all your songs, and you click on the song, and then it displays the notes, and then you don't have to exit. You can just play it right there where the songs
I wish I had known
are
about
displayed.
the target of the Deku scrub because like I did that entire sequence where I kept like. 'Cause you have to
I
go
mean,
into
you don't have to. You can use your shadow. You can see.
yeah,
it,
but
and
I
that
kept like
helps.
so you have to go into the flowers and they shoot you into the air and you have to kind of fly around and land on those like little tiny platforms to get to the palace, right?
Yeah.
And I kept shooting myself into the air before realizing that there's a Deku shooting at me from
and
trying to
knock you
land on.
down.
So I had to come back and try and like circle around and land back on the platform I was on, or I'd have to go all the way back and circle around again. And I did it on one try, but it was a pain in the ass. If I had known there was a target,
Yeah. Probably make things a little bit better. But yeah, so I mean, a few changes here and there, small things, but otherwise it just looks like a higher quality version of Majora's Mask, and I really am enjoying the song of Time. But was it like?
Do they call it something different?
The backwards?
Well, no, you see the inverted Song of Time and then the double Song of Time, whatever. When you play it double, instead of like YLR, you do YYLLRR, and it speeds up time. Unlike the original game where it would take you to it would just jump you forward to the next day or whatever. Now you can choose
How far?
based on hour.
Yeah.
I want to jump at 1 hour, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want.
That's useful.
And it makes it so much easier, especially when like I was at the ranch and she's like, "Oh, I'll be leaving at 6 p.m." and it was like 8 a.m. and I was like, well, fuck that, and I just do it and wait until exactly at 6 p.m. and like it makes things like that so much easier when you're doing these side
I think as a
quests
result,
and
the games
stuff.
ultimately ended up being a lot shorter. But
Well, probably, but
probably
that's
more enjoyable.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be shorter just because you're doing less backtracking and kind of what's going on again and kind of figuring it out. There is that one like kind of hand-holdy place you can go where I haven't done it yet though, where you kind of crawl into that hole and it tells you what to do next or something.
Yeah.
I haven't done that yet though because I guess I've remembered for the most part what I'm doing. Right now, I guess I'm a little lost. I just got the Zora mask and I know I need to go and collect the little like eggs and throw them in the tank for the guy, but I can't remember where I'm supposed to go. But I'm sure it'll take me like 45 seconds to figure it out.
I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I am too. I'm at least halfway done with the
Broadcasting more of
game.
it this week, right?
Yeah. When I cast on Thursday, I'll cast some more of
What's
it.
that, Crispy?
Realization over here from Crispy.
What have you been playing, Crispy?
Let's see. Last week I played some Darkest Dungeon.
That game's butt.
That game's
You know what game is butt
weird.
that I played?
Yeah.
While you're thinking about it? Hand of Fate. I don't like that game.
What? How much did you play?
I played like 6 bosses through 6 games or whatever.
This is the game we played at PAX.
Yeah,
East.
this is the
Yes.
card.
Yeah, I want to like it, but I just don't.
What don't you like about it?
I mean, I don't like the kind of the pacing of it. I don't like the flow of it. I think there's a lot of, waiting and animation, and maybe if like the story that it was being told was like dynamic or interesting. Like there are some games that do have that. Like that game Sunless Sea that came out. It's kind of like this roguelike, exploratory game, but the story is kind of like unique and different every time. Also that 80 Days game for iOS is kind of like that, But here these cards tell these story snippets, but it's the same shit every time. So after you've already read it, you're just kind of.
Are you changing out your cards?
Well, yeah, but the problem is, I fought through 6 bosses or 5 bosses. And I'm on the 6th, and they just keep increasing the deck size. So I don't even really need to go in there and kind of like move stuff around.
Well, you do because it doesn't always put in the new ones.
No, I know, but I'm saying like deck management is actually a lot more minimal than I was expecting, and maybe the game will get to be the point where they finally put a hard stop to like the size of your deck. But it's not like I'm not making tough decisions as far as like deck building goes.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
I feel like the deck building aspect of it is just not very satisfying. So, plus when you get into battles, like your deck only matters so much. A lot of it's accruing gold and like the stuff you buy in shops and whatnot. But my problem is all that kind of feeds into this combat system, really. You know, it's like nothing is hard outside of, you know, you losing a lot of health, or, you know, or food, which means you're going to lose health, or money, which means you're not going to be able to buy good equipment, which means you're just going to have a harder time in battle, or you're going to die quicker. And the problem is the combat in the game is just really not that fun. You know, it's kind of like this really poor man's Arkham game. You know what I mean?
Oh no, it definitely that same style of attack. You know, block. What is it? What is the move? Counter, and then like shield break or whatever. Yeah. So it's the same like that style, but yes, obviously not as well done.
The problem is everything kind of feeds into that. So if that's not that fun or different or kind of exciting, and you occasionally get some skills that are not fun to use or clever, but everything just feels a little mushy, you know? And I'm just envisioning this game where, like, this combat system is a lot better than it is. You know, imagine if it's like Dark Souls combat, but now you have this card game feeding into something you actually want to do instead of something that's blah. It's just kind of there. But you can't have, like the thing that the meta feeds into be kind of blah, because it just throws off the excitement of the game, the carrot, you know, I just, like, I don't care as much about what's going on. But that's not even the, like, you know, honestly, I could get over the mediocre combat if the stuff I was doing outside of combat was a little more exciting, but it's just kind of drawn out.
Well,
like, there's a lot of loading in this game.
Isn't everything outside of the combat?
Like, look at this.
I mean, isn't everything outside?
Look how long I hang on this fucking screen waiting for combat to load. And even though you can skip those animations that the you know, where he puts on the equipment and shit, like, it's just everything moves really clunky.
Is this game
well,
completed
it
or
doesn't take that long in the PC version. But I get what you're saying, and you're right. It is really like.
Well, there's a lot going on.
I was way excited about this game when we saw it at PAX Prime.
Yeah.
But it was still really early in development when we saw it, and I think a lot of what I like about this game is kind of more the overall ideas.
I thought I remember this game being grid based.
No,
well, it's not. Yeah, it's like it's like you lay out a track on a table
of cards. Yeah,
but yeah, it's not really even grid based, because a lot of times that track is pretty linear.
Well, at the beginning it is. Later on, it gets much less linear.
Yeah,
so sort of.
So you spend what's the ratio of, like, spending time figuring out your card situation before you actually go into battle? Like, how much?
That's not so. At the beginning, you have a deck and you build it and you can change it and do whatever. But then, as soon as your deck is set, you start the game, and that's a randomized set of cards. You move along them, revealing what the card is, doing what the card says, be it a combat scenario. No, these are the cards you already have. So to get new cards, you do these special combat scenarios or encounters that you've never done before, and you get a token if you complete it. And if you complete it, you get that token. And at the end of this, like, kind of run, you'll unlock new cards from that.
Yeah.
So the thing is, with the new cards, you always want to have the new cards in your deck so you can unlock new cards.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so
everything just seems so drawn out. And I just wish.
Well, I think it's supposed to be kind of
a lot snappier.
Like, I think it's almost kind of like a throwback to, like, old school style tabletop games.
Maybe
in
you
which
should try the PC version.
The PC version does seem to be a bit quicker.
I mean,
the PS4 is a plenty powerful system.
Yeah,
the fact that
it's optimized for the PS4.
It probably is not.
It's not. That was like a stretch goal.
Well, this is also an indie developed game. This is not.
Wait,
like
the PS4 was a stretch goal for them during their Kickstarter.
So.
Yeah,
it was originally PC and, like, I want to say, like, iOS.
Well, I don't care.
And then consoles were
maybe I'm playing on the wrong system. Maybe
they're
an indie developer, but it's really affecting the amount of fun I'm having with this game.
Well, you remember, like, I was talking really favorably about this game when we were at PAX.
Correct.
And when I got like the actual, like, retail version of it on Steam and I played it for a day, a few hours, and then, like, I haven't gone back to it, because you're right, it does kind of funnel you into that combat, and there really needs to be something else.
It's close to something really good.
The action game encounters, yes, that's what I believe. I believe that these ideas and, like, what they're trying to do with it is really cool. I think the execution is kind of stumbling a little bit, but I think this is the biggest project these guys have ever done. This is still kind of them trying to like figure it out. But
I've played a lot of. Okay.
If there were more like kind of actiony environments that you could explore, where like you go into a car, like you flip a card and it's like, oh, this is an abandoned dungeon, go like check out this room. You know, if there was more going on than just following you into these like combat arenas, which are capable but not very exciting. But there would be more meat to it, and if there was more going on deck building wise, because they do sell it as being a deck building game, but you're kind of just getting in like, it's like, oh, I've got more better sword cards. I'm gonna take out the shitty sword cards and put the better sword cards in. It's not
a complex choice.
That doesn't evoke like the kind of strategy and thought that goes into building.
Yes,
like a Magic the Gathering
there is
deck,
less strategy in that, because you don't have to worry about stuff like making sure you have enough mana, making sure you have enough of these cards, so you don't get like front loaded with something.
And it's also different in the fact that you're not building a deck to fight somebody else.
Correct.
It's like you're not preparing a deck to like go against somebody else's deck. You're preparing a deck for you to run through an adventure game, and that's a weird. It's the same thing with like that Dungeoneering, the Guild of Dungeoneering.
Yeah.
It's this weird situation where you're like the game is making you play against yourself, so you're kind of having to consciously like make decisions that will make the game harder for you, but at the same time you still want to get the rewards, so you're trying to like you're trying to like cut the experience out from under yourself a little bit. It's this weird like kind of cognitive dissonance, and I never really know how to approach that. I never really know like am I building this deck for like, do I want to throw a lot of enemy and like bandit cards in there so that I'm having more combat sequences, or do I want to try to like throw in more treasure and more weapons?
So I looked at it as whenever I got new cards, I would make sure the new cards are in there. There's a little icon on there that represents if you pass this encounter or whatever, you get more cards. And so I would always make sure those were in there. And aside from that, I would just make sure I had a healthy dose of, just those random encounters with people. There'd be a group of people you'd encounter and be like, oh, give us some food. And if you give them food, later on you encounter them again and they give you more food, maybe, or gold or something like that. And so I would just try and make sure there was a heavy dose of that and these bandit encounters / these like kind of like these maze things, these like trap rooms and stuff like that.
But those were always kind of the same.
Yeah, no, yeah,
that's not the same.
No, there's
okay.
at the beginning there's a bunch of the same ones. You unlock more, but the thing is the controls aren't good enough. To the third person kind of top down isometric controls aren't good enough for those mazes.
Not just the mazes, but like the way this game scales with difficulty is in combat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's not just that they start throwing more at you that have like harder attacks to counter and stuff, but they start putting like just traps on the battlefield.
On the battlefield,
and you're just getting kind of hit from all over, and
comes a bit of a clusterfuck.
And like I'm dying. Because the battle is clunky, the combat system is clunky, and it starts I just lose the whole game. But because everything is so drawn out and kind of like clunky, it makes me just not want to get back in there because you only get new cards at the end of fucking.
You have to finish the run.
Finish the run, and those cards aren't even that exciting in the first place because
that's understandable.
What if they feed back into this combat that I don't really enjoy? I was expecting to enjoy this game a hell of a lot more than I do because I love hybrids. I love deck building games.
This is. I mean, no, I'm saying like I really, really want. It's not that I just want to like this game. It's that I want it to be something worthy of me liking it.
I kept playing just because
I feel like it falls short of that.
I kept playing just because I was hoping for it to eventually click, and it kind of never did.
Yeah.
But I mean, maybe I'll keep going. I feel like I'm just gonna keep looking for that until I'm done with the.
I definitely
campaign, and then there's an endless mode.
Yeah, I definitely want them to like get some success out of this, and maybe hopefully reiterate on these ideas in the future and try to like flesh them out a bit more.
Yeah, perfect the ideas. What's up, Nick?
I was playing it last night.
We have one more game to talk about before we cut to break.
What's that?
And it's something that I tuned in to Brad. Brad was broadcasting last night, and I tuned in.
Pull up footage.
I tuned in at the exact moment that Brad started flipping his shit.
I went from Hand of Fate to Subnautica, which was an early access game.
Oh, yeah.
This is kind of the era of, hey, early access games not feeling that early access, at least in my case. Which, hey, Subnautica is still very early access. It's by Strange Worlds or Something Worlds. Unknown Worlds. It's by the guys that made Natural Selection 2.
Is this the game that someone gifted to you?
Yeah.
Yes.
He was damn it. He originally offered it to me. I was like, maybe Brad would enjoy this more because he loves underwater shit.
Okay.
And then I watched Brad play it a little bit. And I was like, God.
So this is like it's like underwater Minecraft, kind of, but it's not as modular as I'm having some issues when I first loaded up the game, but it's gonna smooth out here in a second. So your ship crash lands on a planet and you're in the middle of the ocean, and you have a little escape pod that's floating out in the ocean, and you can go in your escape pod. But you can, if you stand on the top of it, all you see is ocean and your crashed ship. You can't. Your ship is kind of out in the distance. If you get close, there's like a nuclear radiation, so you can't even go over by your big ship.
This is awfully clear water for being in the middle of the ocean.
Wait, so that's the escape pod?
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
that is a submarine that I built.
Oh, you built that?
This is fucking Minecraft, right? Where all you can do is go down in the fucking ocean. You start harvesting materials and you start building shit because on your escape pod, it's a multi-deck.
You built that?
I built that.
Wait, you built this from materials you found under the ocean?
So it's like Terraria. Like I'm not actually physically building it piece by piece. At least not this thing.
You're collecting the parts you need.
I'm collecting
to
the parts I need to build it. Like first I had
There's like a recipe for that.
Yeah, like I had to turn sand into glass, and
okay.
like there's materials all on the ocean floor, and you have kind of like in Minecraft you have a thing where you combine materials, right? And in your little escape pod. So you start out very simple. Like I made a fucking knife so I can swim down and cut up seaweed. I will say that I started kind of in the free mode. That doesn't mean you can't die. It just means that you don't have to babysit a hunger/thirst meter. Which there's fish and stuff to eat down on the ocean floor. There's even like a grav orb that you can make that will like fish
Get stuck to it?
Get kind of stuck to it, which you can use to like kind of get food.
You set up like traps, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. But you don't need to do that. The moment I realized this game was kind of brilliant was two things. One, I realized, hey, this isn't just a game where you harvest resources. You can like dig Minecraft style. Like you can dig underwater tunnels and like stuff in the sand, which is crazy. Which is fucking crazy. And that sand is materials that just like in Minecraft. Yes, there are things that can kill you, and at night especially, there's weird kind of underwater sharks. But the creatures are all alien because that's what these guys are good at making. These are the natural selection guys, and there's some really cool alien designs. Oh, it's so beautiful and atmospheric. Holy shit!
He even tweeted at me after giving it to Brad, saying sorry that he couldn't get it to me too, and I was so mad because I wanted to play this.
So I made this little underwater sub, which can go down far deeper than I can breathe.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is, like, you can swim down really deep because you can make piping that goes all the way up to the surface. So instead of having the surface to breathe, you can just breathe from the pipe and keep down, like digging and harvesting. But I made this little like sub, and like the world, it can't be procedurally generated because it's so fucking amazingly designed. You find these underwater caves with strange alien life, and it's fucking scary, and you have to like make a flashlight so you can see and stuff. And I made that little thing that propels me through the water faster. It's fucking exciting because like I'm always discovering these new things. Like I found this rock, this big boulder that was kind of floating a little bit above the ocean floor, and I go up to it and there's like these alien life kind of stuck to it, and I pulled it off. I pulled a piece of alien life out, and I'm holding this ball, and I realized that's what's making this thing float. So I was like, wait a minute, like I found like boulders that kind of look like this near this like underwater cave, and I started grabbing this alien life and sticking it on these boulders that were blocking this way, and it opened up. It moved the boulder so I can swim down into this cave where I heard this weird noise, and I saw these little like flower kind of things on the ground, and all of a sudden it was like a real freaky like, and like these fish came out of it, started flying at me and exploded, all because like it's discovering this crazy underwater alien life, but knowing that there's some materials in there that are gonna let me build something awesome. And it's kind of that care, just like Minecraft, where only the rarest materials are gonna let me make the thing that lets me make vehicles, and once I make the thing that lets me make vehicles, I can make this underwater sub, and then I can make this giant Colossus submarine, multi-deck Colossus submarine that I can dock my mini sub into. And
it's
like
got some popping problems though.
So
no, I was having some real issues when I first started capturing the footage, but I'm gonna smooth it's gonna smooth out here in a second. The thing is, it's early access, and it's getting to the point where
I was looking at that.
like no, leave it up, leave it up. Because it gets cool here. You can go down so deep, and it gets pitch black. And when I first went down real deep, I started seeing these big, giant, like luminescent, like mushroom, glowy type things that were kind of illuminating everything. And I went deeper, and I started seeing like lava, like magma down on the ocean floor, and it was just so beautiful and atmospheric. But then I saw a piece of gold, and I needed more gold to make my giant submarine, and so I had to keep going down and exploring. But
that's one of those games where you see something, it's just one more, trying to get one more thing.
But you have
and
inventory management too, so I'm making like storage and stuff, and it has all the hooks of like a Minecraft game, but I think it really feeds into that exploratory aspect of Minecraft
Brad,
even more.
This game really is your
like you.
Well, see, so it's early access, and I'm kind of worried that I'm just gonna have to they're just gonna kind of drip feed the content out, but it's so kind of fun as is that I'm just gonna kind of play it every now and then when they make a really big update, like that giant submarine. That's something they just fucking added.
How long of playing this did it take you to get to this point where you had that submarine and this little mini sub?
I did it all in one night, which they. An early access game, they create a piece of new content. They want people to get to it. I could definitely see how they.
But aren't you in a creative mode or something like that?
Well, I'm in it's not a creative mode like Minecraft per se. You're still playing the game. You can still die. There's still danger. You just don't have to worry about eating and drinking. Which I kind of just wanted to get a feel for the game before I went into that mode.
Yeah.
But so there's a couple things that like. I don't know if my PC's just kind of getting a little old, but the game keeps crashing when I'm going into a certain, like I'm hearing like a big rumbling, like a big, like
something
ocean floor shaking rumbling, and my game crashes. And like when I'm going my sub into like one part of the ocean, and I'm wondering what is there that is.
Maybe they haven't developed it completely yet, so they just crash your game.
They're like, not supposed to go there yet.
People were asking about some big, underwater squid. I don't know if they were making shit up or whatnot, but
Squidzilla.
It definitely so I thought like, oh well, maybe once you make this big sub, like that's kind of it, now go explore. But I found a video up on YouTube of some dude making an underwater base. Like a base down on the ocean floor.
Does it explode really easily?
I don't know. But man, like this I recorded a lot of footage here, and I will say like I'm kind of going into kind of uncharted territory right now, and I pull back because I don't want to find something too amazing while I was just recording footage for the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I want to kind of explore new areas live, but it's that kind of thing where you start getting far away from, because your little mini sub has energy, it has health, and if you take up too much, it's pretty easy to take damage when you get kind of under the.
Does pressure
underwater
affect
caverns and stuff? Not pressure that I've noticed, but I've only gone down so deep. But you can craft a welder to repair that, but everything is resources, just like Minecraft. It's
my only problem with this game is this. Not a problem because the game's bad. It's one of those situations where I see an open world game like this, and this is a game where I'll go online and I'll watch YouTube videos of it for hours, like when I can't play it, and then it kind of spoils it for me. So this is one of those ones that I'm kind of been excited for, and I've been trying to kind of avoid that content.
I feel like you really don't have to in this game because a lot of the kind of the plans for making a lot of the stuff is kind of already
available. You can see what you
not everything.
No, yeah,
not everything, but you find like blueprints and like ship pieces down on the ocean floor that will kind of point you in a certain direction towards making the certain things.
Should I cast Majora's Mask on Thursday?
Oh god,
how much is this game?
I don't know.
We have no idea.
Yeah.
We have no idea. Okay, cool.
Because it was generously gifted to us by some.
But there's a difference between something like Stranded Deep and a game like this, which
this one looks fun.
Is made by a developer who's kind of made relatively big projects in the past.
This isn't their first game.
I'm sorry, that wasn't fair. Yeah. That was a low blow of my part.
No, I'm just saying it's nice to see this type of game, which is usually relegated to like very small teams like very small teams, kind of like maybe that started off just being mods or whatever, and you can really tell the difference, and that's nice because it's really beautiful. Like when you start getting into like these little underwater like giant seaweed forests, you know, that at night, you know, parts of it glow. It's fucking beautiful.
This is a very good looking game.
Yeah. And even though it, you know, kind of hitchy on my, you know, it was actually not that hitchy last night. It was just I had been doing shit on my computer all day long, and
lots of porn
for whatever reason.
Gotta remember to close out those porn windows before you.
No, I keep porn off my broadcast PC because I don't want to mess it up.
And you don't want to accidentally broadcast porn. That too.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
You know, it's a fear everyone has.
Somebody's gonna leave their monitor capture on and like, oh, I forgot to close this tab. You know, I'm sure it happens all the time to people. But
anyways,
it's $15 on Steam.
That's cool. That is cool.
I can't wait to play more.
I would like to give that a shot. But it looks like it is time for us to cut for break. We have gone a little long in this first segment, and we do have a lot of stuff to cover on the back end of the show. So we humbly request that you stick with us until we return from the podcast break or something. And we're going to do news. We have a bunch of interesting news topics this week, and of course we're going to answer questions from our patrons. If you are interested in asking questions for a future episode, just become one of our patrons. You can support us for as little as $1 a month, and we will be answering about 2 or 3 questions per podcast. So we'll do that when we come back, and don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
Hey guys.
Hey guys, welcome back. Anyways, there's some pretty. There's actually a lot of big news this week. We all have a news topic. We always do this in the second segment. We all bring a news topic to the table. Yeah, Brad, would you
go
like,
first? Yeah, if Chris Davis can cue that footage up, I actually got him some footage.
You got footage for the news segment?
Yeah. Oh. I got footage for the news segment. Did y'all watch any of this footage? The first news topic is mine. That is that 32 minutes of footage from Legacy of Kain Dead Son.
Do we have to talk about it for 32 minutes?
No.
Yes.
Maybe he could skip a little ahead in the footage because it's a lot more narrative based at the beginning. 32 minutes of Legacy of Kain Dead Son footage hit the internet. This was a full-blown Legacy of Kain reboot or reimagining made by Climax.
Oh.
No. Ooh, no.
No. That was a ooh.
Well, I mean, you love Climax, right?
Wait,
who doesn't?
When did I say?
They made 2 Silent Hill games.
Yeah, which ones were those?
Origins and no, they made Origins and Shattered Memories.
Oh wait, you're right. Shattered. Okay, Shattered Memories is really good.
Yeah, Climax is all right. They've done a lot of weird games. So Climax has a weird history of like ATV games and like MotoGP games and stuff. And they did like that Rocket Knight Adventure reboot or whatever.
Yeah.
Wait, is this a sequel or a spiritual successor?
It's not a sequel. This is just something new.
Oh.
It's a new Legacy of Kain game. Now, so they also did, for the original Xbox, their big original title that was going to put them on the map was that RPG Sudeki.
Oh.
Remember that game?
Oh my god.
Yeah. So
oh my goodness.
Climax, I mean, they don't have the greatest pedigree, but hey, they have heart, right? They tried to reboot Legacy of Kain. Which it looks a little more like Akuji the Heartless.
Whoa.
Or like Shadow
Man.
Whoa,
that was weird.
So yeah, remember Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver had like the shifting world thing where you kind of went from the living world to like the dead world or whatever, right? Yeah. That's in this game, but it's a really cool looking effect. It's actually a really cool looking effect. That's one of the more impressive things that I saw in the video. And it works a little bit like kind of the shifting from Prince of Persia, the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I mean, the Forgotten Sands, where you would kind of shift stuff into existence.
Is that a boob?
That's a boob hanging out, yeah.
Woo!
Kind of like in Song of Ice and Fire.
All that boob hanging out.
Okay, real quick, traditional Carthage.
I'm assuming this is a canceled game.
Yeah, this is a canceled ass video game. Square Enix shut this project down, but they gave the green light to the multiplayer game, which I think was probably based in the same engine.
Which one is that?
Nosgoth.
Nosgoth.
Yeah.
Nosgoth.
You know, it wasn't made by Nosgoth. It was made by another developer, but they said, hey, let's keep the multiplayer one, throw out the single player one.
That's fucking...
I will say this about the single player. This doesn't resemble that. It is like kind of an open world, very Ubisoft. It's very Ubisoft-ified, you know? It looks like, you know... the game actually looks a lot like Shadows of Mordor. The combat is kind of Batman. Kind of Batman looking, the way you're kind of zipping around. It doesn't look great. You know, the combat doesn't look great. It looks kind of boring, honestly. But, you know, you can climb up things. You eventually get wings, and you're just flying around this world. Maybe if he skips a little ahead in the footage,
character looks really cool. Like,
it'll show you. You know, it's very... Like, and the world looks very Shadow of Mordor. Like, very Shadow of Mordor. It's actually kind of shocking.
Yeah, just from looking at what I've been seeing right here, yeah, it does.
Oh, we got that move that he just did where he like
it resembles
tripped him and then like slammed him into the ground. Like that looks straight out of Shadows of Mordor.
Especially when he's flying around later, like you'll see, like, wow, this really does look like Shadow of Mordor. And after I watched this footage, I was initially like really upset. Like, I can't believe you canceled a single player thing, and then you kept this multiplayer thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's such a bummer because, you know, I that's not Legacy of Kain. But after watching this footage, you know, I'm kind of not that upset that this thing was canceled. Because, you know, this could have been like a Lords of Shadow thing where people would have bought into the initial hype of this thing being all new and fresh, but not really that amazing. And then maybe a sequel would have been shat out and kind of killed everything, like what happened with the Lords of Shadow games. I don't know. I mean, but like that shifting effect looks really cool. But then he starts like collecting orbs and shit. It's crazy to see a game that seems so far along be just completely shut down.
Mm-hmm.
But
So, like,
after watching this footage, he does get wings later.
The question kind of becomes, for me at least, was this shut down in favor of maybe having a different studio or maybe just a different take
it's probably
on the
just
same project? Or
project
is it
was probably
flat out
just
canceled?
bleeding money, and they couldn't find its fun. You know, that happens a lot. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of like platforming challenges where you're kind of like shifting between the worlds.
I mean,
That's alluded to in the mechanics.
It proves they at least have interest in the franchise still.
Well, I mean, I don't think Nosgoth. Like, I don't think anybody cares about Nosgoth. That's one thing. So I don't know what this means. But it probably does mean that Square Enix is not going to bankroll any big budget, you know, Legacy of Kain reboots anytime soon, because this probably isn't a. I mean, shutting down a project that was this far along is just shitting away a bunch of money. That's all that is.
And that is. That's what I was thinking about just watching this, and like this is not like a game that was just like developed the other day. They put a lot of time and money into this.
This game is like animating, like it's fluid, like it.
No, I mean, this is a
plays.
project that was in development for a long time. But like, look how Shadow of Mordor this shit is. It's crazy. I just kind of wanted to mention that, you know, after seeing this footage, I don't feel so bad because
Maybe they canceled it after they released Shadow
Yeah,
of
that's what I was
Mordor.
thinking. They're too similar.
No,
so-
this game has been canceled for a while now. Like, I think it's been a couple of years since they announced that this game was canceled. I mean, it was never even officially announced. But you know, a lot of info kind of like leaked
Oh, so
out
this
about
game
it.
before this footage leaked, there was
There was- yeah, it was
No,
like-
there's
people
nothing.
knew, I know, but people knew this game existed.
Yeah,
before-
yeah.
okay.
People knew the game existed by name. That a single-player Legacy of Kain game was being worked on. That had been confirmed, and that it had been canceled, and that Nosgoth was the only thing to kind of survive from it, from the Legacy of Kain reboot or whatever.
Mhm.
But I mean, Nosgoth is kind of lame too. I don't know. I hope that. So my dream is that it's a little faded now that there's a sequel to Lara Croft and the Guardian of Light, but I really liked Guardian of Light. Temple of Osiris, you know, I don't really love. I could tell like they put even less money into that one. I would love a cooperative Kain and Raziel game. They were even DLC in Guardian of Light. Kain and Raziel isometric game that focuses a lot on like exploration and puzzle solving. They already have the engine for it. You know, just give it a little bit bigger team, give it a bigger budget. You know, I think people would really dig that kind of thing. You know, they could
that could also be the first
still
necessary step towards maybe fully rebooting the franchise, get people interested in it again.
or, you know, rebooting it on a smaller scale, which I think is fine. I think it's fine. It's better than it not existing. It's better than trying to make it relevant in a world that probably doesn't need this type of game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyways, I I just kind of wanted to briefly bring up TwitchCon.
Oh yeah, they announced that.
Twitch made a huge announcement. Obviously, it's going to affect us as we broadcast on Twitch every day. They announced TwitchCon, their own convention, in September, late September 20. I think 25th and 26th. I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
right
less
after
than a
PAX
month
Prime.
after PAX.
Yeah.
And
in San Francisco,
we're probably going to need to be there in some fashion.
Well, you got to put it somewhere. I mean,
yeah.
It's just the weirdest thing about. I think the announcement makes sense. Twitch has become such a huge part of this industry, and maybe like the bulk of what Twitch does nowadays is not necessarily what we do or what we specialize in. It's a whole other side of that aspect.
They're gonna have a really big Smite booth, probably.
I mean that convention is probably going to be focused on the obviously the huge part of Twitch, which is the competitive gaming circuit and that kind of thing. But like
speedrunners and stuff.
Speedrunners and
speedrunner panels.
So we've been broadcasting on Twitch since
before Twitch.
So
since before gaming broadcasts were popular.
Yeah. So I mean, my initial instinct is to say, hey, yeah, we're probably going to need to be there in some capacity. It's just why Twitch kind of has their hand on the finger on the pulse of the industry, just as and they know when PAX is. It just seems kind of a weird time to have a convention. Yeah. Less than a month after they know a huge portion of their audience is also going to be paying money to fly out to another part of the country to go to a major convention.
Here's a question. Do you think that this convention's going to really just kind of focus in on, like you said, the things about Twitch that are big, like, League of Legends and stuff, competitive gaming? Or do you think it's going to become more of just a, hey, we're Twitch, we're big, let's just try to do a PAX, where, it's not about just Penny Arcade. We're big enough to get, publishers to show up and show off games, so come and play the latest game.
Well, that's the thing is a lot of publishers and developers use Twitch lately. Mm-hmm. When they're showing off their games, they'll have their own Twitch stream where they go and show off. This is like when Unity came out, the day before they had a big a full day of streaming on Ubisoft's channel, and they did the same thing with Far Cry. They've been using that as a medium a lot lately.
And I think first of all, I think like the vibe of the con, and this is also just me,
it's all speculative.
Speculation. But I feel like the overall atmosphere of the con is going to be very much like when you go to PAX and you see that giant section of the floor that's committed. It's like a lot of white carpet and bright white lights and purple Twitch signs and a lot of people on stage talking to competitive gamers and stuff like that. So that's probably going to be a major component of it. But I do absolutely see that maybe not, who knows how big this first one's going to be, but if it continues on, eventually it could very well grow into a place where developers use that as a platform to make announcements, just like they would PAX or E3 even. But I think it's really those kind of announcements are going to be tailored more towards, they're going to attract developers who are developing games that speak to the Twitch audience. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like you may see developers who would normally announce their game at PAX
New MOBAs.
or E3 say, hey, our game is really popular on something like Twitch. Why don't we hold off and make our announcement at TwitchCon instead? It's just because it makes more sense. But who knows? It's kind of exciting, but at the same time, it's like, oh my god, another con.
Which
and the weird thing about it is it's a Friday Saturday instead of a Saturday Sunday.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
If someone from Twitch came to me, or maybe an old school broadcaster like a Swifter, with the idea of maybe doing a panel where we could reminisce about the old days of JTV and early game broadcasting, maybe I'd go. But right now
I agree.
But right now, man, it doesn't, unless Scalebound's gonna be there. I don't really have interest in a Twitch convention. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I totally.
Because I think Twitch is mutated into something that's completely different than us these days. So
true. Very true. Nolan,
what up?
What you got for us this week?
I got some community.
Wait, Nick, you're skipping your news topic, bro.
Oh. Well, then why'd you say it like that?
Oh, sorry. I forgot that's how I normally lead into community.
Yeah. News. So there's a little news topic that I'm particularly interested in, probably more than the rest of these guys here. And then...
Probably Binding of Isaac news.
No, it's not. I already talked about that the other week. It's that Arkham Knight...
Wait. Oh, never mind. You're good. You're good. Sorry.
Am I good, though?
Yeah, sorry.
Arkham Knight...
Sorry.
has received an M rating.
Woo! I'm actually really excited about this.
I like it.
Do we know if
they,
that is a mistake or not?
No,
M for mistake?
They've already said that they're accepting the M rating. They're not going to change the story, and it was for violence, suggestive themes, and I don't remember.
Something else.
Yeah,
but
basically what it means is Arkham Knight's probably going to kill a guy, and it's going to be really violent at this one point. Like.
Well, no, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be Batman that kills a dude. It could
No,
be.
I said
he said
Arkham
Arkham
Knight.
Oh,
not Batman.
Because it's a story about a Batman type vigilante, and the way they always differentiate those characters from Batman is have
they
that
kill
guy
someone.
murder somebody in the first 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what this is. This
Would
isn't
Robin kill someone?
this guy. That's what,
I
Red Hood.
yeah. That's out. Well, obviously.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, is it? I guess.
That book's been out forever. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if it's just a single, like Arkham Knight killing someone, that kind of
is one
like I really
of someone
want
being killed enough to give it a.
Well, it depends on how they're killed.
I don't know if it's one, but like these games were already kind of rough.
But yeah,
they were already bordering on a tone that could have, it wouldn't have been a huge stretch to like push that to an M rating.
Mm-hmm.
Just depending on what the villain's doing, because obviously Batman's not running around like shooting people or like killing.
He
people,
just throws sharp blades at their
But they
face
might be-
until they fall asleep.
Yeah.
They might be doing some particularly dark things.
Well, yeah, and so that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping for a darker, not necessarily Christopher Nolan Batman, but just a darker. I mean, it's a gritty world, and when you go out there and you fight criminals, it's not always going to be pretty, and things aren't always going to go smoothly, and that's what I'm kind of hoping for. I don't know if that's what I'm going to get.
I hope it's not like something completely gratuitous that doesn't
Oh,
make any
yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
If it's like Harley Quinn's running around like with her boobs flopping around, like that would just be stupid, right?
I mean, stupid.
Obviously that's not what it is because they didn't give it.
They
the
say
rating for
nudity.
but-
Yeah, unfortunately.
But yeah, if it was something like that would just be.
That'd be silly.
That would be like so.
You can get that on the
backwards
internet.
DC, like,
Just Google Harley Quinn boobs. You'll find it. You don't need that exactly. You don't need that in the Batman game. But like I said,
the chat just go Finkel's Einhorn.
that's okay. Riddler, I guess. But I'm just really hoping it's just kind of like a darker game where maybe even Batman does have to make some decisions kind of that maybe affect someone's life or maybe punches a guy and rips his throat out or something.
In the final act of like a superhero story, it's not uncommon to like try and push that hero as far as you can go and really kind of try and find that fine line between being a hero and being like
there's stuff that
vigilante.
happens in those animated movies that's like
Dark.
pretty violent. I was just watching the end of the Flashpoint movie today, and that alternate reality version of Batman shoots Reverse Flash in the head, and it's like you see a shot of Reverse Flash from the front, and you see like the bullet come through his head, and like you can see through his head to Batman like holding a gun behind him. Don't worry, it wasn't Bruce Wayne. Anyway.
Oh shit.
So like there's some violent stuff that happens in these stories. So like this isn't like this isn't crazy. Like this isn't like completely out there, but we'll see.
It is interesting, especially it's to me it's just another one of those things that kind of makes me excited to see what they're going to change for their final Batman game.
Maybe they just admitted, like, okay, you are killing some of these people with these takedowns. 'Cause, come on.
With the car, you actually are running over some
It's
people.
like your tank is actually blowing people up. Like,
What if it's just because you can
It's
actually
not
run
shooting
people over in the streets with your tank?
I mean,
If you so
it's-
choose.
Possibility.
it doesn't seem like they were shooting for an M rating. They just kind of ended up with one.
Yeah.
But now they're saying we're not going to go back. And
Well, I mean,
compromise.
clearly there's something in there that
Yeah.
pushed them over to an M that they feel is needed in the game. Otherwise, they would have taken it out.
See, I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Halo M. You know, like how Halo.
It's not M, is it?
Yeah,
Halo
Halo's
is
always
rated
been
M. But
What?
like the biggest reason why like the first Halo is M is because it came out like a month after September 11th, probably, right?
Yeah.
Everyone was really sensitive about gun violence, so like that's
And then it just stuck
if
for the rest
that
of the
game had
franchise.
come out a year before, it probably would have been.
God, I can't believe Halo's in it.
Yeah.
Is this might be a little off topic. Is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, is that rated R?
No, it's PG-13.
But that, I feel like it should be rated R.
It's all, but it's all like
Finkel is Einhorn.
it's all
Yeah, I
suggestive.
remember the reveal at
It's
the
all
end.
suggestive. If you're a kid, you don't understand half that shit.
I know, but
But like I didn't understand it, but when I go back and watch it, I'm like, oh.
it's like when I watch. It's like every
What
time I
about
watch
the reveal at the end?
What about it?
when there's a wiener in a.
I mean, when I was a kid, I was kind of confused a little bit. I was like, is that Buffalo Bill?
It's like every time I watch Ghostbusters and I realize that ghost is giving him a blowjob.
Yeah.
So the game director on Arkham Knight said, "We're not including gratuitous blood or swearing. We want to deliver a true end with no compromises, and it takes us to some dark places."
Yeah.
That's a good. Oh man, that's a dark, ominous way.
Which
of-
I mean,
saying-
like kind of lines up with the whole idea that Batman's gonna die at the end,
Or kills
because of the whole statue. You guys remember
Yeah.
the statue thing?
What if he kills the
Like,
Joker?
Yeah. So
Hey, you know what's funny?
Is the Joker dead? I don't fucking know anymore.
Oh my god, can we stop talking about this?
Yes.
So
Kills the Joker in Dark Knight.
Moving on. Nick. Crispy, your news topic. We're gonna move on to Crispy's news topic.
I can't stop thinking of the ghost in Ghostbusters unbuttoning Ray's pants and then just hearing the grapefruit video sound.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay, my news topic this week is that Telltale has announced some more details about what their next project is
And
going to be.
Wins
Ew.
weird.
And it sounds weird. So basically, they've already talked about starting their own IP. So they've got this new IP they're working on. Still not really saying what it is, but the way they're going to be releasing it is they want to do what they're calling like a quote-unquote super show, where it's going to be part interactive Telltale game, part live-action television series.
So they're producing it.
And they're going to be interacting with one another.
It's one of those
so-
things where you're online and you're kind of clicking, and the popular vote's going to be like what they do, kind of
Well,
thing.
they haven't really said yet, because
This
the
explains the Lionsgate
the episode,
thing.
yeah, they teamed up with Lionsgate.
Oh.
Who,
No,
like, last week-
Lionsgate bought a bunch of Telltale.
No, Lionsgate made a quote significant investment in Telltale.
Oh, okay.
Whether that means they actually bought part of the company's stock or they're just like spending money on
Gotcha,
this project
gotcha.
with them, they weren't clear about that. But basically, the way this is going to work is they're going to release this episodic game, and it's also going to come with an episode of live action TV. And supposedly the game, like your decisions that you make in the game, are going to affect basically what version of that live action episode you end up seeing. Or you can even do it the other way around, where you can watch the episode first and then play the game, and then it's going to tailor how it presents these like choices and scenarios to you based on whether or not you watch the episode first or you watch the game
You know what
first.
this reminds me of?
Huh.
That fucking
Quantum
game, Quantum Break.
Break?
That
Mhm.
was,
Yeah.
they suddenly backed off the idea of it being like
It
a
also
live
kind
action television
of
show.
it
Yeah.
also kind of reminds me of Defiance a little bit.
Or
Remember how like Defiance
Lionsgate CEO now sits on Telltale's board of directors.
Yeah.
probably.
If they give enough money, yeah.
That's scary.
Or
If they're
whatever.
dumping money into a project,
Is
with them, I'm
Lionsgate
sure
just
it
going
is.
to buy Telltale?
Maybe?
Is it
I
Riccatello
don't think
also
so.
working at Telltale now?
Who?
John Riccatello?
I don't know.
John Riccatello?
Who am I thinking of?
I don't think it's that. I mean, I think we would have heard that.
Basically, the big quote here from Kevin Brunner,
You mean
the
Lionsgate,
CEO of Telltale, is that they want to make a project that is capable of winning both Game of the Year awards and Golden Globe awards.
That's
So we'll see, and we have no idea what the actual IP is, but apparently they have teamed with quote world-class creative talent. They haven't said who that person is, but hey, maybe it's George R. R. Martin, and he's got something else to distract himself
Or
from finishing Winds of Winter.
Peter
Or Hunger
Molyneux.
Games. Hunger Games guy.
Oh yeah.
Because Lionsgate is Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Hunger Games is Lionsgate.
His lines.
Yeah,
I forget
they-
his name.
that
Bernadette
doesn't-
would know his name.
They're also Orange is the New Black.
I thought that was Netflix.
John Riccatello is also at Telltale's board of directors.
What?
So
John Riccatello, like CEO of EA?
Former CEO. Yes.
What the hell?
I'm not crazy, Brad.
Did you see that thing I retweeted? That it was a news article about how Don Matrick is like driving Zynga
Oh yeah.
or something like that.
oh yeah,
That fucker.
Yeah.
All right.
that guy.
So that's it for the news this week. We'll cover some more next week. Obviously, if you guys want to discuss any of these further, you can visit our forums. We have plenty of people discussing all kinds of things over there. You're welcome to start your own thread to discuss it, and we're all in there too. So we'll chime in on discussions here and there as well. So you can visit us at 4playernetwork.com/community if you want to create an account. We invite you all to do so. But now it is that time. Nolan,
My news topic?
it is no. It is now time for the community.
Woo! Time for the community. Yeah, so excited
One of
for
these days
the
we're
community.
One of these days, we're actually going to make like a soundboard clip. Or
We
something.
probably should.
It's been too long.
Yeah, it has
Maybe
been.
we'll make that a milestone on Patreon.
Speaking of Patreon, our Patreon's going pretty good. And did you know that we are only $20 away from the next milestone? $20
What
a
is
month
the next
away
milestone,
from a
Nolan?
mini Project M series.
Mini Project M.
Mini Project M's or
Because the
basically-
last one was so much fun.
But these are going to be like short one night races between two members of the staff playing a particular game. So you can get
We should get
farther.
like a Project M trophy. And the winner of the previous Project M keeps that until the next
Shut up,
Project M.
Nolan.
Let's get a
Shut
crown.
the fuck up.
Nolan just knows he'll never have to give it up. By the way, Nolan is banned from these Project M's. But anyways, we're $20 away, guys, and just a quick reminder, everyone out there who's maybe considering becoming one of our patrons, you can become a patron. You can support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month.
$1.
You can go as high as you want. if you want,
$1.
but as little as $1 a month, and that contributes towards the community-wide goal of
You know,
achieving
next
milestones.
time you're on your way to work, just go around the toll road. Spend the extra 10 minutes. Avoid the toll road. And that dollar can come our way.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Also, there's at least one more milestone that we've already kind of dreamed up that we're gonna fit in there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't decided where we're gonna fit it in, but I'll probably be adding that this weekend. So look for a new milestone here pretty soon.
Ooh.
It's an
It might be.
exciting one.
It's an exciting one. It may be because of the way we have them arranged right now. It may be a couple milestones away, so it may be a while before we hit it. But it should be exciting, and it will give us time to start churning out the ones that we've already unlocked. Because goddamn,
If you're a patron, go watch the new vlog.
oh yeah,
the
posted our
vlog.
first vlog. Remember how I said these vlogs only need to be about 4 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes?
Well, it's the first
yeah,
one.
the first one is
And
16
there's
minutes.
like 4 of us in it. 4 times 4 is 16.
Oh!
There you go.
More than 4.
Chris Davis and Bernadette. Well, it's semantics.
So I guess it's safe to say,
Fuck yourself.
if depending on who's in any particular vlog, it's going to be about 4 minutes per person. who's
Yeah,
involved.
sure. Why not? So moving on. Every week until we catch up, we're going to thank 10 patrons. We've thanked 20, and I will do the next set of 10 until we catch up. So going down the list, we got Spoopy,
Spoopy.
JG, B Killer, Tom P.
Tom Petty.
Yes.
Oh, I hope.
Veal Suit.
Hey.
Veal suit.
Yes. Veal Suit.
I like how some of these people like people's names. And
Yeah.
Veal suit.
Liz E, Jason B, Evan, Zill, and Kuyas.
Woo!
Thank you guys very much.
Coos?
Koos.
Coop.
Koos.
Like C-O-U-S.
Yes. Koos.
Oh, it's Coos.
Coos.
Let's call them Q.
Kuyas.
Coos.
I put the enunciation weird.
You know,
So
Coos
Koos.
was our first ever mod.
Yep.
Balls. So guys, thank you very much
And-
for playing.
I
and-
found
we're-
out about
we're
5
actually
years later he's British.
Yeah, he is. We're still on the first day of patrons.
Jesus Christ. It's going to take a little while to catch up. We're at like 83 patrons right?
Yeah.
So we've thanked 30 so far.
Thank you, guys.
So every week we are also going to answer a couple of questions from posts we get on that patron activity feed.
So, by the way, before you go any further, I just want to say we're kind of in the habit of updating the activity feed every Sunday night or so with any new content. So I posted my first episode of my Silent Hill 2 Let's Play, which reminds me, I meant to talk about Silent Hill 2. Maybe I'll talk about it next week, because I'm playing the HD collection because of limitations I had.
Well, if people want to hear your thoughts on it, they can always go watch the Let's Play, of which
Well, yeah, of course.
plenty of you still need to watch.
And I do talk about it while I'm playing it. So check out the first episode of Let's Play. It's on 4playernetwork.com on the supporter content page if you're a Twitch subscriber, and if you're a patron, you can access it directly on our Patreon activity feed.
Yep. So our first question this week comes from Evan. Kind of something what Brad was talking about earlier. With the growth of early access titles on the market and the swelling tides of shovelware now flooding it, which do you think is worse? A promising early access game in a messy, barely playable state that convinces you to wait for further development, or a promising early access game in a very playable but incomplete state where you can almost treat it like a finished game to the point of not coming back later? Is it worse to be in early development so your potential players can't enjoy what you show them, or instead are forced to wait? Or should you have a well-polished product that gets treated like a finished release and many lose interest in it by the time the final version is produced?
So,
i.e., do you want a very early access game that's still missing a lot of content, or early access to a game that's almost finished but not quite done?
That's a weird question.
Yeah, but it was like something like...
It's the nature of early access, though. But like think of Crypt of the Necrodancer. That wasn't early access. No one played 150 hours of it. Are you going to... I mean, this is a dumb question.
The latest update has a new boss and a new level, so yeah.
The dumb question I was about to ask is, are you going to go back and play Crypt of the Necrodancer when it's done?
Even those old like prototype builds that you were getting.
Oh yeah,
it was still very playable.
I got, when I first got access to that game, it was a year before early access for the game,
and it was still playable.
So there was only like one level with a few enemy types, and I played the shit. I played at least like a couple hours of it back then.
Jesus.
But no, see, so that's the question, and that's something I brought up before in like Minecraft. I played that when it was just the concept of Minecraft. You know, there was just the five, like the, I don't know, I say 5 or 6. There was like, you know, a couple of different types of stone, a couple of the sand, you know, a couple of different types of. There was only like one type of tree. I think it was even before there were multiple types of trees or whatever. But there's no story. There was no objective. All there was just a free open world. And then I played like 40, 50, 60 hours of it, and then when the game actually came out, I haven't touched it.
Yeah.
And so his question was, which do you prefer? An early access game that is very, very like Besiege, very, very raw, not a lot there. Still a great concept, still fun. Or do you prefer to wait until it's more developed? Maybe, I don't know how developed Subnautica is, but maybe more in that state where there actually is something you can do in the world.
Because I was watching him play Subnautica, and it seems very much a very different state of completion as from Stranded Deep, which I was playing.
So that's the question.
And like,
well, Subnautica is a very pretty game, but it doesn't seem. It seems like they still have potentially a lot to add, but I don't know how much of that is. I just need to uncover more myself.
Well, there definitely has like.
But they
if you're gonna play it, it has to be at a certain point of completion. Well, you know, like the woods or the forest. Like I bought that in early access, and that was really incomplete. And that more than anything kind of turned me off to going back and playing it later.
I mean, honestly, I feel like early access can do more damage than.
Potentially, yeah, it can. If the game isn't, you know, in a state of...
Because who's to say the Forest isn't going to be an absolute fucking masterpiece when it comes out?
And so that's the problem. And I think that's the problem with this current trend of early access, and especially us. And what we do is we talk about video games, especially when they're new.
Yeah.
When they're hot. And the problem is early access games are coming out more frequently, and that's the new hit topic.
And we're talking about it and critiquing it even at its
and
state
I would argue that Besiege is more complete than a lot of early access games. Well, it just doesn't have levels.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot you can do in it.
Right, but the actual mechanics are like down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. All it is mechanics, really.
Also,
a game like, but that's a smaller package anyway compared to like one of those first person survival games. You know, where something like Stranded Deep or The Forest, like they have a whole crafting mechanic that they have to flesh out, and then they're adding more to that while still making what's there also
I know.
with the world.
Which Subnautica, I feel like, is in that state too. It just looks nicer than all those other games because the developer has some great artists. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think that's one of the problems is we want to jump on the games early because everyone wants to hear about it. But then
not so early that it's like
exactly. But then I play it and I'm like, I don't like it, and then I don't want to go back to it because I had a bad experience.
Honestly, that's why. I mean, I think Brad's kind of in this boat too. But like,
I think
but
it's
I feel like I'm kind of leaning more towards like trying to avoid early access.
Well, I think
pretty
it's
much
also bad for
entirely.
developers too if they release too early. In that, not just the bad publicity of like a game being broken, but I think that would really just like wear on the creative process. If you put this game out and people are like, "This is shit," I don't know like what this is gonna end up being. Like, how do you keep like forcing yourself to work on something like that?
So what do you think about something like what I always forget. Robert Space Industries.
Like Star Citizen?
Yeah, Star Citizen, but what's the company's name?
Cloud Imperium?
Cloud Imperium.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cloud Imperial Games. What they're doing with Star Citizen, I mean, they had plenty of money, but they didn't release an early access. At first, all they released was just the hangar.
The hangar, yeah.
And that's all. You just walk around in your hangar. And then they released Flight, and you can fly around. They're like releasing small bits of very controlled, like what they're giving you, what they're even telling you can do.
I think it's a smarter approach. At the same time,
Dude,
Not every game can do
No,
that.
not
though.
every game can do
That,
that, and that
I
opens
think-
up that opens up a scary door because like
The scary door.
that Star Citizen sounds amazing, but like when you compare it to how much money they have, like it's making me real nervous about whether they're going to deliver or not. Just
Yeah.
because like if they don't deliver at this point, holy shit.
Yeah, there's
Holy
no
shit.
reason not to though. Like
Yeah.
they've got so much money and so many people. They've got like hundreds of people working on that game now.
Yeah. Wait, we're getting off topic.
But think about like something like No Man's Sky. I think if No Man's Sky had any sort of early access or beta release, that game would just be killing itself, would
Yeah.
be shooting itself in the foot. I think the fact that it's going to release in a playable state is going to help it perform.
What's up, Brad?
Someone brought it up in chat yesterday, and they said if No Man's Sky is kind of like Subnautica, like that type of
Exploration.
you know, of like the exploration with like crafting elements to it, like
That'd be pretty cool.
that game could be pretty.
Dude,
fucking
I am
amazing.
so fucking
All right.
excited for
Let's
that
not get into No
Next
Man's
question.
Sky. All right, next question
Change
is
my hype
from
this
Giro?
Giroux.
Dr. Giro? I don't know how to say this name.
I mean, Dragon Ball Z, right?
Yep. Jeroz?
Giroux? I don't know.
Giroz?
Giroux.
Anyway, moving on. He says, for the sake of new podcast listeners, how did you all first meet up with each other? When did Nick join in? When did Nolan join in? Chris Davis and so on. When did you realize Crispy is a worthy addition to the network?
What?
Well,
He's just asking when everyone pretty much joined up.
there were
So starting with Brad.
there are times there's resources out there. Well, let's go ahead and just
Real quick. I mean,
quick.
maybe some people have just joined in the past like couple of months.
It started way back when I was a young buck
Of 32.
of 32.
Just kicking the Diablo 2 addiction.
Just kicking it. No, it's I went to high school with David and middle school too, I think maybe way back in the day. We didn't really hang out much, but then we both went to UT here in Austin, and he kind of like would see me occasionally like hanging out in the arcade, so we talk a little bit. And then we kind of started hanging out in college, and we started talking a lot about games because he played a lot of games and I played a lot of games. And one day we were like, hey, we should record this because we have these long conversations about games. Let's just record this. And then we started podcasting. First podcast ever was the Twilight Princess podcast, and he worked with Nick. And
I worked with David at GameStop for a while. In fact, he was my manager for a while, and then
is he a good manager?
he was the best manager. Just because we would get our work done early, and then we just for the rest of the night we just sit behind the counter and talk about games, and people would come in and we talk about games with people. And then that was awesome. But yeah, I worked with David, and then one day we were having a particularly deep conversation about games or whatever, and he got all excited like David does, and he was like, "Hey, you want to be in a podcast?" And I was like, I didn't even know what a podcast was at the time, so he just told me, and then the next I was like, "Yeah, sure, that sounds interesting." And then like 2 days later, we were sitting at his house on his like bedroom floor, no chairs, talking about Star Wars Shadows of the Empire. Is the first one I can remember talking about. I think
Nick was so cynical back then. He's like, Shadows of the Empire was dog shit.
But we so it was me and David for a while because at the time Brad lived in Houston, and then eventually Brad came down to Austin, and for the first year or so we had a blog on Blogger for the longest time, it was, what was it called? East versus West?
Working title.
Working title. Yeah, working title is an important part of the title. And we had that blog for like a year without any listeners or readers or viewers. In fact, one day we had one comment. And it was like the name was like from some Russian, like it was in Russian. We couldn't even tell what it said. And we were like, oh shit! Like we got so excited.
It's out there, we're breaking.
Buy my male supplements.
That's probably what it was. Yeah. Anyways, Nolan?
So I actually started out as a viewer. I think Holy Crap It's a Bear was the clip that introduced me to 4Player podcast. And I started watching on JTV. And I would watch just in my spare time. And then David started like an Austin kind of community get-together thing.
Applebee's.
Yeah, and I was in Austin. And so I went and I showed up and I met everybody. And Brad's really shy in person. And it was kind of awkward. But Nick and I started hanging out a little bit, and then one day Nick was like, hey, do you want to come over and broadcast? And so we broadcasted, and I had talked to the guys a bit, and then David went to Japan for like 3 months. And they're like, we really need someone to fill David's spot. And so I filled the spot for 3 months while he was gone, and then kind of been here since then. Yeah. That was I think February of 2010?
Sounds right. Crispy.
And then mine is basically the exact same story as Nick getting pulled in by David, but except this time Nick was the manager at the GameStop and I was the new hire. And he's the one who like one day was like, "Hey, so you want to be on a podcast?" And because we used to close all the time, and I mean we'd been working together for like a year before that really came up, I think, right? Yeah. And I know we were becoming friends, and it was one of those phases where like every night I would be like, "Hey Nick, what video game am I going to play tonight?" And he'd suggest like, "Oh, well you should try Singularity, or you should try Alan Wake." That's literally how I played those games, and so that's kind of like how we got to know each other. And I used to play this game all the time at work where, like, I would take rubber bands from the drawer, and when Nick was, like, putting stuff back on the walls or, like, he had his back turned to me, I'd try to sail one past his head as close as possible without actually hitting him. I got pretty good. It was pretty fun.
Son of a bitch.
And then I came in for a podcast, and it was you three were all there, and David was there, and I think Mike was there, too.
Damn.
I feel like there was a lot of people, and we did it in the living room out here for some reason.
Oh man,
I don't remember why.
Last time I remember there was when Jack was still doing the show.
I think it's when David was talking about Xenosaga. I think that was the episode.
Xenoblade
Chronicles.
Where the fuck did Chris Davis come from?
I don't know. Because I've known of Chris Davis for a very long time.
Wait, where did Chris Davis come from?
Did he just show up one day?
Who let you into my home?
He had a camera and we were like, "You're hired."
Really? Really? I mean, I knew you. Did David know you too?
I knew David off and on since high school.
I've known you off and on
with a couple of the game nights at Applebee's.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I went to a couple of games to him for broadcasts.
Chris Davis knows everyone. He knows like.
Well, he's like
weird.
He's like best friends with one of my best friends from middle school.
You're everywhere.
I'm omnipotent.
And then one day, he was in Brad's home.
And then I joined when y'all put the call out for news writers.
Oh yeah, okay.
There we go, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Yep. All right, get out of here, dog.
He's like,
how did Hyde join?
How did Hyde get here?
All right, so that's just a couple of questions. If you ask a question and we don't get around to it, we can't answer all the questions. Feel free to ask it again for the next podcast.
I post these on I make these posts every Sunday night when I post content on the feed for you to leave questions. Just leave it in the comments. There was one who was it? Someone just asked, "Hey, what's their favorite movies?" It was like that simple.
I didn't pick that because that's such a fucking hard question.
It's a hard question?
Yes. Yeah. I worked at fucking Hollywood Video
What comes to your mind first?
It changes.
Like, gun to your head. What's your favorite fucking movie?
Like right now?
Like,
yes!
Right now.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
Hey, that's
Pulp Fiction.
Hey,
It's too new. It's too new, though.
How is it too new?
It's too new.
Dude,
It's a fucking
you and your
amazing
fucking
movie.
Rules.
Yeah, your rules are bullshit.
$2,000, dude.
That's
I've
not
watched-
like a crazy
I've watched
rule,
Grand
it's-
Budapest Hotel like 3 times in the last week. I swear, like that. That
That's a
movie's
good
great.
fucking movie.
That's great.
I
And
mean,
you need to see.
Fun.
Birdman.
I love Grand Budapest
honestly,
Hotel as well.
if I have to
I've
choose,
seen Birdman.
Oh, you did?
it's a fucking
And
good.
you're still giving
I
it
finally
all
watch it.
Birdman?
If I have to choose one movie, I would always say Life Aquatic
I mean,
with Steve Zissou. That's probably one of my.
I do like Life.
I've watched that movie. I'm surprised the DVD hasn't like burnt out.
Burn through.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the Bourne Identity, or the original Matrix film.
That's better.
Brad.
I'm back and forth.
No, the first
Dude,
Bourne
what-
movie
dude,
is definitely the Bourne movie.
Honestly,
to watch.
if I had to be total, if you had to hold a gun to my head, I would probably say the Bourne Ultimatum because that's my favorite in the trilogy. But Identity is the
What's
more
the one that ends with him swimming away underwater to that Moby song?
They all end with a Moby song. You
Do they
dig?
really?
Yes, Moby does.
Underwater with Moby.
All right. Anyway, moving on. Every week we're also featuring a forum post. So you just go on the forums and check out this post. This week, the thread is describe a game badly in 10 words or
This
less.
is an awesome.
It's in the video game discussion section by Chai Tai, and it's essentially just like a quick, usually humorous, not always, just description of a game. It could be positive or negative, whatever. I didn't get any samples or anything like that.
Here, go to the. I'll pull up the samples on my tab.
Okay, but it's
You just keep
a
going.
fun little thread to go and either vent about a game or kind of a quick
Dude, some of
synopsis
them
of
are
a
fucking
game.
funny.
And please, and again, it's just, this was last week's thread, but more people need to be voting in that music track.
The
of
music
week
track of the week.
thread because
Dude,
it's really cool that the poll that
This one, do you see this week's track of the week is
licensed trailer,
best licensed music used in a game trailer.
which I did the Saints Row 3 trailer.
Oh yeah.
I was having trouble thinking of them, but it's
But,
a little bit harder to think on that one. But
Those are good topics.
Yeah,
So go
definitely.
and vote. I can't believe Catherine won for best title menu song, but hey,
It's good. I'll be
it sounds
honest,
like
I
not
vote-
enough people voted. That's what
I
it sounds
voted for
like.
that.
Looks like you
remember
voted.
what-
All right, so
Fuck yourself.
now it's time for chatter of the week. Yay! Chatter of the
this happen to my
week. It's chatter
That was
chatter
everyone's
of the
socks.
week. You need
Brad.
to change out your socks more than every 2,000 years. Anyway, moving on. This week, this part of the show where we pit two chatters against each other in an all-out brawl of chatterness, and how quickly they can beat the Order 1886.
Cool.
Well, it's gonna be about the same.
Is it? I made that joke last week. Fuck. How quickly they can come up with a competition to compete with each other in.
How quickly they can
how
cut
quickly
a hole
they
in a
can-
grapefruit.
Oh God.
Damn it! That was mine. Damn it!
All right. Our
Why
first
can't I
chat-
find this thread?
Our first chatter this week is Alejandro. He says, I am 23-year-old hella male from Dallas, and I've been listening to you guys for about 6 years now. My name in chat is Vibin. However, I haven't been able to drop into chat quite some time lately due to various work obligations, and that's understandable. Do your job, but also listen to
Do
the
your job.
podcast. Alejandro's shameful secret. I pretty much Pavlov's dogged myself out of ever being able to finish Dragon's Quest VIII. After discovering what hentai was around the same time as getting Jessica Albert in my party back when the game came out, I had freshly discovered that my body doubled as an amusement park. Now, as a grown-ass man, I can't play the game for an hour without feeling all
I get
hot
all
and bothered.
boned up.
Oh my god. Whoa. This
I
is-
get that.
Dragon Quest 8 though?
He's like he can't even pop it in and just enjoy it regularly because then he just sees that one character and he's like, fuck.
Bust out the grapefruit. All right, greatest gaming achievement from Alejandro: beating the Japanese version of Pokemon Silver when I was 8 without any knowledge of the language. My dad got it for me when we moved to Japan back in the late 90s. I got the first 8 badges in Johto and called it a day before taking it over to a friend's house that knew Japanese and had already finished the game. When I tried to be a braggart by showing off my 8 badges, he scoffed and showed me that you could take the train back to Kanto and fight the original 8 gym leaders. Shit flew out of my ass as I started crying in happiness because I had no idea my Pokemon adventure wasn't even halfway over. I was a sad kid and everything made me cry, including Space Jam.
Hey, by the way, I found that thread.
Okay.
With some examples.
Couple quick examples.
Yeah, describe a game badly in 10 words or less.
Maybe 3.
Pokemon, throwing balls to encapsulate small animals to do your chores. Call of Duty, you shoot people in the face and Carlos has joy. Tomb Raider, it's like QWOP, but with more tedious controls.
It's true. All right, back to chatter of the week. Alejandro's top 5 games of all time. Number 5, Kirby.
Canvas Curse.
I'm going to go with Superstar.
Crispy, pay attention.
I don't know.
Kirby, I don't know, is not on the list. The answer is Kirby
I
Superstar.
don't know Kirby games. I don't know.
That's okay.
Alien Isolation, you play a locker inspector who inspects all the lockers.
You can't have a single Kirby game. You have a Kirby amiibo.
Kirby All-Star.
That's a game.
Say
You know
Smash
what?
Brothers.
I bought that Kirby amiibo for somebody else.
Back to chatter of the week. Alejandro's number 4 game of all time is Dark Cloud.
2.
2, of course.
Of course, 2.
Well,
I'm
it
just
could be
saying
one.
2 because
there are some.
I did
weirdies.
like 1, but it does not even come close to 2.
Dark Cloud.
Wait, what?
Wow.
His number 3 game of all time is Demon.
Souls?
Wait,
No.
wait, can we back
Demon's
up?
Crest.
Did you say Dark Cloud 1?
Yes.
It happens. Those are people that didn't play.
Why
Dark
don't you
Cloud
call
2.
him out when he says Dark Cloud 1? I can't say Alan Wake, but he can say Dark Cloud 1.
No, it was a launch title. There's a lot of nostalgia. I get it. Or a launch window. I get it. It's the wrong choice, but I.
Demon Souls. Number 2.
No, I was gonna say.
That's what I get.
Too
Demon
late.
Summoner.
Too late.
Or Demon
Number 2, Nier.
and Far.
Nier. And his number 1 game of all time is Saga.
Frontier.
Candy Crush.
God, I get Saga Frontier 2. Oh, who is this?
Alejandro.
What's his chat name?
Vibin.
Saga Frontier 2.
Saga Frontier.
I beat you, bitch.
Who is the? Well, that's a weird. I mean, those games are weird. Who is the? I can't remember the chatter who's like obsessed with Saga Frontier 2.
I don't know. Moving on. This week, Alejandro is up against Sine. I assume that's how you spell it. S-I-N-E. Like
Sounds right.
sine, cosine, tangent. I don't know.
Seen it.
It says, "Hey 4PP, my name's Jacob, and I'm from Orlando, Florida." Orlando. I've always you just gotta say it once. I've always valued staying well-rounded as a gamer. I enjoy playing games from all genres, and I often feel obligated to give most games a shot at some point. And when I have enough money to expanding video games collections, one of my good friends got me listening to your podcast about a year ago, and it's now my prime source for keeping up with the gaming industry. When listening to 4PP, I got to say that I enjoy Brad's rants.
Glad somebody does.
Yeah. However, I still enjoy listening to you all. You are very well spoken most of the time, except for Nick. He smells like poop.
What?
I'm just kidding. I added that
That's
part.
no one speaking.
A little bit.
Editorializing.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Sign's Shameful Secret, punching a hole in the wall from fighting Sephiroth in Kingdom Hearts 2 when I was 11
He's
or
so hard
12.
in those games.
He's much harder in 1 than he is in 2.
Well, I only beat him in 1.
I
because
couldn't
2 is
beat
a
him.
pile of
I
shit.
couldn't beat him in 1. I beat him in 2 though.
Oh, I beat him in 1.
Well, I say couldn't because I was like 8 when it came out,
Yeah.
and I
Well, when you're a grown man like me, when you're playing Kingdom Hearts.
yeah.
Hey, by the way, I'm going to be playing Kingdom Hearts here pretty
What?
soon.
What?
I'm going to Disney World in April, guys. I'm playing Kingdom Hearts before I go to Disney World.
What?
What?
You can't go back, dude.
Sure I can. I already bought the HD collection.
Those games.
All right. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, the first-
Why is it getting hotter and hotter in this house?
Because the heat
I don't
just
know.
kicked
I
on.
had to take my jacket off. It's getting hot.
Probably
Let's
because my
just
girlfriend
let's
was-
go ahead.
All right.
This podcast up.
Sign's greatest game achievement. Not really an achievement, but I've got about 3,000 plus hours of active game time on. I don't know. Fantasy Star Online
That's
2.
it. That could be
Oh.
anything, Nolan. Anything.
Fantasy Star Online 2.
Yes, I know that a lot of people have surpassed me in ridiculous playtimes, but that's a pretty no life for me.
It's not a lot for that type of game.
All right, and his top 5 games of all time. Number 5, Borderlands.
2.
I hope it's 2.
No, I hope it's 1. Fuck 2.
Borderlands 2 is probably the better game, but I couldn't bring myself to play more Borderlands after playing more.
Borderlands.
Huh.
And I agree, Crispy. Borderlands 2 is probably a better game, but since it's Borderlands 1.5...
There's 3 Borderlands games, and you really only have to pick one. Don't play all 3. Just pick one.
Well, the problem is I played the...
And if you're going to do that...
Anyway, moving on.
I'm saying for people who have never played Borderlands.
Siren was way cooler in 1.
Moving on.
Sirens are gay.
His number 4 game of all time is Pikmin...
2. 2. A lot of love for 2.
I've only played 3 and I loved it. I'm going to go with 3.
It's not 3. It's 2.
Pikmin.
Oh,
His number 3 game of all time is Sonic.
the Hedgehog. Sonic Hedgehog 3. Sonic and Knuckles.
Unleashed.
No, it's Sonic Adventure.
Sonic.
These people they're children.
Sonic the Hedgehog
They like
2.
Spyro games.
Sonic Adventure.
Fred called it.
Number 2 game of all time is Phantasy Star.
Online.
Online 2? No, online.
Online 2. His number 1 game of all time is Phantasy Star.
There's no way.
4.
Online.
Universe?
Online Blue Burst.
No one likes that one.
He put 2 Phantasy Star Online games.
Apparently.
My God. What was his name?
Jacob.
Fantasy Star is like Diablo.
That was
Or Sign.
It's a sickness.
First guy, Alejandro, who is ashamed of his hentai Dragon Quest 8 feelings for Jessica Albert.
Jessica, like that. This sounds like Jessica Alba, which those feelings make more sense.
Yes, they do.
He's ashamed. His greatest game achievement is beating all of Pokemon, even though the game was in Japanese. His top 5 games were Kirby Superstar, Dark Cloud, Demon Souls, Nier, and Saga Frontier. Up against Jacob, who's ashamed that he punched a hole through a wall trying to fight Sephiroth. Has 3,000 hours in Phantasy Star Online. His top 5 games are Borderlands, Pikmin, Sonic Adventure, Phantasy Star Online 2, and Phantasy Star Online Blue Burst.
I'm going to give it to Alejandro because Jacob lost me at having 2 Phantasy Star Online games in his top 5.
Top 2?
And I really do like Alejandro's top 5 list. And the Jessica Albert thing was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Those, to be fair, those Fantasy Star Online games came out like over 10 years apart. But I'm gonna go with the first guy because hey, Soccer Frontier is a favorite game of all time. That's inspired. I think that game's kind of underrated. It gets a lot of shit because it came out post Final Fantasy VII and it looked like a Super Nintendo game. So hey,
Crispy?
I'm going to give it to the first guy because... Alejandro, because he mentioned Demon Souls, and that's Q. And I'm going to be playing Demon Souls
What if you
soon.
hate Demon Souls?
And... Well, I mean, I played enough to know that it's similar enough that I like it. And the whole hentai thing.
Yeah.
I get that.
Well,
It's a struggle.
Congratulations, Alejandro. You are a winner. You are this week's Chatter of the Week.
Yay!
Congratulations. He
He
wins.
wins the rest of this durian.
No, we're not going to send him durian. That's a punishment, not
He
a
wins a grapefruit.
prize. Yeah. If you would like to be Chatter of the Week, all you have to do is send an email to anyone you want. Just send them an email and be like, "What's up, bro?"
You did this joke last week too.
Yeah, you did.
I've done it for the past 3 weeks.
Okay, I'm just making sure that you're aware.
Shoveling shit down our throats.
Shovel shit down your throat.
Oh, my phone.
And then go to 4playernetwork.com, choose Chatter of the Week, and you can submit the details there.
Yay.
Yes, there's a.
Because we have a new form.
Oh, come on, no, you can do better than that. I just also want to point out that this is what she looks like, right?
Yes.
No. Okay.
No?
Anyways,
Not in the game.
you can submit your Chatter for the Week submission by filling out the form on the front page of 4playernetwork.com. That's what he meant to say.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time to wrap up.
Oh, very quickly.
Very quickly, because this podcast is going long, and it's hot as balls in here.
My thank you goes to MGS2. He sent me an Ike Amiibo, which are very hard to find, and it's pretty cool. My fuck you... no, we'll get to my fuck you in a second, because my hype goes to my new PlayStation TV, I think? Which I kind of want to be excited about. I do still have these games that Chai Tai gave me ages ago, and I forgot that I had them. But I'm going to be playing a Vita game coming up here pretty soon. That should be exciting. There's a hint as to what that is in a future trailer talk, which, by the way, you should be excited because I'm doing it's Trailer Talk weekend. I'm doing a week's worth of Trailer Talk, so keep your eyes locked onto YouTube, and you'll see what I'm talking about. My fuck you goes to Sony's memory card prices, because Jesus Christ, they're doing a sale right now.
Hey, that was my fuck you when I got my PlayStation TV. Very original, Brad.
Well, Sony deserves more fuck yous. Because I'm so tempted, because Sony's doing a sale right now, and Tales of Hearts R is only $20, but I don't have a memory card, so I'm probably not going to get it. And my sweat goes to the looming potential that I might fall into another Smash hole. You know, it's like always there. I'm kind of worried about it. You know, I might get a little too excited and turn it on one day, and then I don't discover a game like Subnautica. You know, that's how dangerous that is. So it's always kind of my sweat from now on.
Cool. All right. My hype this week goes to Subnautica because as of like 20 minutes ago, Biohunter sent me that game. And so I'm going to be playing that, and I'm really excited because I can finally play it, which leads into my sweat. I have too many fucking games right now. I just have too many games that have either fallen into my lap or just come out, and
This is our life, dude.
I'm still playing Binding of Isaac.
That applies every week of every.
I probably played a good
year.
5 hours at least this weekend. But I finally unlocked the Lost, and I had so many fucking runs that just ended horribly. Anyway, moving on. What's up?
Did you get the Tweet Me That Link MGS2 Master 2 power up?
What?
The Tweet Me That Link MGS2 power up.
What the fuck are you talking about? Why are you making my 4-player minute go so fucking long? My fuck you goes to Sony for some of the reasons Brad was saying, the memory cards, all that shit. And then I also went into the store, and you can have a list of all the games you've downloaded and everything. And I was just scrolling through that list to find all the Vita games I've purchased in the past because they were free to download them. And it fucking sucks because they let you download Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Yeah,
You know, it lets you download it, and then as soon as you boot it up, it's like, nope. So go fuck yourself. No, I know there is a list, but I know they've also talked about possibly
You don't want to play that game.
Because it's got so much touchscreen shit.
Yeah, I know.
That's why you can't play it on the Vita.
I know. And my thank you this week also goes to MGS2 Master because he sent me a couple of Vita games Arkham Gate. What is that one called? Dark Gate? Black Gate?
Oh,
Blackgate.
Blackgate.
Hopefully not the one I'm going to play.
And Akiba's Trip for the Vita. So I'm going to be playing that a little bit too, on top of fucking playing through Persona 3 and Subnautica and my XCOM playthrough and fucking There Came an Echo and all the other fucking games.
I gotta play that too.
There's too many fucking
That
games.
sucks.
Anyway, Crispy?
Okay, so my hype goes to No Man's Sky because we mentioned No Man's Sky and it made me think about No Man's Sky and No Man's Sky, guys. No Man's Sky. My sweat goes to Dragon Ball Xenoverse because I did get a copy and I will be playing tomorrow. I've been hearing some pretty cool things. I don't know, maybe it'll be cool. I can't wait.
I gotta skip it.
I'm not.
There's
I'm
too
not
much.
skipping it. I'm making a character tomorrow. It's gonna be great. I can't wait.
What are you making? Or is that a
I don't know.
secret?
I don't even know. There's 6 different races. I just gotta feel it out. I was thinking about making one of those Majin.
Did you buy it?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't buy it.
Oh, you checked it out.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is you gotta make a Saiyan.
No, I know.
But then you can also make a boot a Majin
boot.
character
Dude, man.
So Vunic played the beta, and he says it's good.
That's
Dude,
what everyone's been
what I'm
saying.
I'm hearing good
Everyone's
things.
been saying it's
I read a
good.
review today that gave it an 8.25.
And that fucking
Which I mean, review scores. We don't pay attention to those anymore. But yeah, apparently it's not bad.
XX Morpheus in chat says, "Dude, it's the shit."
So there we go. I don't know.
Says Xenoverse is amazing.
I'm playing some tomorrow night on PS4, so come check that out. It'll be 8 o'clock, I think, when I'm starting.
Maybe I'll watch.
My fuck you for the week goes to Werewolves in 1886 because there should be more of you. There's hardly any werewolves at all in that game, and when they are there, they fucking suck, and I fucking hate werewolves. Werewolves are dumb. I'm sorry, Nick. Don't look at me like
Why are you apologizing to me?
Should
I don't know, because you're looking at me like
You're sitting
I'm
across
cutting
from me,
you.
bro.
And my thank you to the week goes to nobody because I'm ungrateful.
That's
I thought he was
rude.
going to say Nolan for a second.
My hype.
Why not thanks to someone finally making a good Dragon Ball Z game?
Well, I don't know that it's good.
You about to whip someone?
My dogs are terrified of my belt.
My hype this week
I snapped
goes to the Talos Principle.
Really?
Because
Going
it's
back?
been about a month. I mean, because I've been, like I've said many times, I've been very busy in January. I didn't play a lot of stuff. And I went back this past weekend and played a little Talos Principle out of the blue. Because I do need to wrap that up. And God, that game's fucking brilliant.
It's
It was
good.
fucking,
It's good.
fucking brilliant. It's fucking brilliant. So I'm hyped to go back. I think this weekend I'm just gonna plow through the end of that game and just finish it because I love it so fucking much. And I feel bad for not having spent so much time.
Did anybody go through that brick wall yet? Oh, you
Yes, I did. What the fuck was that? That was weird. So my sweat. Oh god, what's my sweat? My sweat. I'm gonna give my sweat to the Dark Souls Sins of the First Scholar edition. Comparison videos seem to be implying it's a pretty good version of the game.
Everyone's saying it's
worried.
supposed to be better.
I'm really like, there was a certain point this year where I just kind of decided like that's the one I'm going to play, and I kind of said I'm just going to put off any intention of ever going back to the old one. And I'm going to just wait until the new one comes out, and I'm hoping that my wait or making that decision was worth it.
By the time Bloodborne comes out, you're not going to care about Dark Souls 2.
Shut up! That's also
Dude, but there's a lot of changes in this re-release.
that's
I
also
mean,
a
like,
concern of mine, Brad.
I
Thanks.
started playing Dark Souls 2 again last night, and it's still good. It's so good.
My shame is that I have not played Dying Light since our little co-op session last week, and it's mostly just because I've been trying to get a lot of work done for the site, and I'm gonna go back to it this weekend. And my fuck or my actually, let me see. You know what? I don't have a fuck you. No. My thank you for the week. Did I ever say thank you? I've lost track. My thank you of the week goes to OBS for not giving up on me. Even when all of chat had.
Fuck OBS.
You the real MVP.
OBS didn't give up on me. It booted itself back up and insisted that I sit down and finish the Order 1886. And I did. I poop-socked it. It took me 9 hours to play it on hard, but I got through the whole game in one sitting, knocked that game out. Thank you, OBS, for believing in me. And I think that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Of course, check out the website. It's 4playernetwork.com. We have a lot of cool, exciting stuff coming down the pipe for you guys. One of which being we're going to be implementing these major changes to the live page that we've talked about. The dual screen setup is hopefully going to be done this week. I'm having a meeting with Ed tomorrow to talk about it. So that was
They've been putting a lot of work into this, guys. If this shit works, like they're saying it's going to work,
hoping.
you guys better watch on the live page, man, because
that's the only place we'll be able to take advantage of it. We'll be able to we'll be able to do multiplayer nights with multiple members of the staff broadcasting on two different channels, but you can watch them on the same screen and use the same chat. So that should be exciting.
And
it kind of opens up a whole new avenue for us. And we're also really close to having a version of theater mode working on the live page. So hopefully, guys, it all works out and we should be able to launch that sometime in the next week or so. And if it does, March will be a very exciting month, and we need you guys to come check us out and watch us on the live page. So be looking for that. Also, I'd like to announce that we will be making an announcement this week regarding our board game night, our first board game night. Check out, it's going to be on the front page of 4playernetwork.com. We will make an announcement regarding when the event will be held, or when the board game night will be held, and when and what board game we will be playing.
And if you want to know what it is, go watch the Patreon vlog.
Yeah, our first Patreon vlog, we kind of gave away what our first board game night is going to entail.
I'm excited.
But we haven't finalized the date yet. But keep your eyes peeled. We're gonna make that announcement this week, and it's only going to be made on the front page of the site. At the same time, we will also be making another announcement for a very exciting event coming up. You may have
Big
missed
event.
So many announcements.
Yeah, so
I'm preparing to get excited.
Yeah, prepare to be excited because we have a very big event coming up, and you may have noticed we did skip episode 400. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's a really good idea.
So keep your eyes peeled on the front page of 4playernetwork.com. Keep your eyes locked.
Eyes peeled.
Keep your eyes locked.
Don't peel your eyes.
Peel them like a grapefruit.
Or
Keep your eyes locked on the front page of 4playernetwork.com because we will be making both of these announcements by the end of the weekend. including dates and details, and it's going to be big. So that's all we have this week, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next Tuesday doing another podcast, same time, same place. And, of course, we broadcast every single night on 4pp.tv, so check us out. And Patreon. Patreon campaign is doing really well. We're $20 away from hitting our next goal. And you can support us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month. So check it out at patreon.com/4player. That's the number 4player if you're interested in contributing to our campaign. And that's all I got. I'm hungry.
Thanks, guys.
Let's go to Whataburger quickly.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye, guys. Love you all.